70 right here on NVIDIA. So yeah, great trading on silver, great trading on the shorts, on all the tech names there today. I'm gonna go to the gym and then think about, you know, being short at 215 here on AMD and getting stopped out of it. So yeah, that was a fun time. But yeah, you know, again, play the momentum. The midday, I just heard Sharif threw up all over himself when he heard about Enphase there, up 32%. So I think they're going to be looking at that as the one name, Sharif. It seems like he's still blasting to the high side there, Enphase. So a good little look. I'm excited to see what the midday guys want to talk to you guys about. So good show here, Neil. It's been, oh yeah, and today, good, thank you. No, thank you. Today we have the first ever Luis Barbado midday. I don't know, do you know the time on that? 1 o'clock, so 1 o'clock, 1 p.m. Luis, you see him, he was here yesterday. I have no idea what the days are anymore. We're now $2 in the money on NVIDIA, but yesterday, so join Sharif and Joe on the, that's his name, Sharif and, I almost said Brendan. I'm like, what am I gonna say Brendan for? But join Sharif and Joe on the midday with Luis at 1 p.m. But until then, thanks for everything. It's been a good one. Thanks to Raheem today.
Yes,
and thank you to everybody else for showing up. We're back at 2 p.m. Ciao till then.
Peace. What I'm gonna do?
I know what I'm doing. Boom! Yes. Yoikeresh.
Yeah,
oh, bro, don't get me started, man. Don't get me started. Arsenal in the finals, wiping the floor with Chelsea, dismissed. London is red, baby. What's up? Let's say hello to everybody, baby.
Yeah, what's up, baby?
Aww. Shout out to Mike P.D. Ryder. We got Andrew Chow. We got Jody. What's going on? Jody used items. She's selling stuff. That's interesting.
She must be, man. Let's send the link.
Get it, Joey. Joey gets distracted. I love that. DJ 2AM, MF Dangerous. We got the OG Gorev, Wyatt, Brown Lighting, Jacques, Hinsey. We got Wyatt, Super No-No, Max Bet, Craig, Money Van Hooth, Tony, Zeta, shout out to Scott H, baby, get her done, he says. Minnesota Trader, oh. Dabba Dabba Doo, we got Oslam, we got RJ Trades. Who else, man? If you're new, throw your name in the chat. One Gold Tooth Diz. We got Ma XD86. We got Slow Motion for me. Slow Motion for me. Notorious Dingleberg, Kobe, the freaking kid, Darskin Curvin, I can't even read that. Miami Dragon, shout out to Ronaldo, JL22, Christmas, Callum, Mitchell, Miller, Buffalo Soldier, and Bastone. Shout out to Cindy B, 1938. Who else, man? Palm, I can't read that one. QB's Mo, easy for me, not for you. Dunking on people just by his username. Shout out to King Jesus. We got Winnie the Pooh Guru. Stone broke since yesterday. Mr. Pink, one more, Joey.
One more.
We got Kektron 8. Shout out to everybody, and good morning to you, brother.
Kektron, hey, John Tantrum, why do you got to put that in the chat, man? We're obviously playing. All right, guys, I hope everyone's having a fantastic one. You see the position board already. We've been sitting in this for quite some time here now. A lot going on this morning, and I'm going to be frank, I haven't even been paying attention too much.
Joey.
Yeah, I'm cutting it right now, Sharif. I'll tell you one thing. I haven't really been paying attention to the tech trade, NVDA, AMD, and stuff like that. I think we can find some other solid opportunities here, and that's kind of what we're doing. So we were trading Enphase. This is our top list right now, guys. Got Uber. Sean and I were looking at this morning. You get that dump into $70, and then you rip right back up to $80, and then you give back the majority of that as soon as the bell rings. But as for the TQQs, guys, this is what we have on the radar here this morning. We're going to start from the top and head to the bottom. So TQQs, SMCI, SLV, EMPH, Enphase there, guys. Uber. And that's what we have. But let's get into our trades and see what we got going on today. We're going to kick things off with Enphase. Yes, up 36%. We get in around $51 right there. And then we get a nice break of the high of the day. That was the game plan. We do take some off right at that peak around 52.64.
NVIDIA?
And then sure enough, yeah, it's probably tanking. I don't want to look at it right now, but we will momentarily. So there it is, 50. There's a lot of things I don't want to work with. People knew that I was just dodging people asking me about Bitcoin. I'm like, not right now. I don't want to take a little peep at the account, but that's all right. We'll go through things. Enphase working really well for us here, guys, as we take some off and then trailing stop to the downside, and it would have stopped us out break even. So we lock in a little bit more. So EMPH working out pretty good for us here, and then we have Assassino, don't forget, we'll tell the people, we're doing it live right now as we talk about silver. Let's get this data edit so the people can see a little bit clearly now that the rain is gone. It's still raining here, Sharif, but we take an attempt to the long side here in SLV. It is still positive here this morning. We go long, and then we are fortunate enough to get a move up into $82, a little bit less than that, and it came against me, and I just cut it break even, and I'm like, you know what, I don't really love the long. I was thinking short on a potential gap fill. I like what Neil was thinking, so we kind of had similar game plans on that one. So I just let it phase out, and then it was just essentially a neckline break, right? So you hold that 82 mark, you form that double top, and then sure enough, here's the neckline. We play the crack of it, and we're fortunate enough to get that move to the downside. So one break even, one win, and then one win on silver. So we'll go 2-0-1. The one being that tie, essentially a break even there. So not too bad of a start to today's session, guys.
Sounds good, my man. We're hoping you print up multiple storms, of course, as always. All right. Box L suffering from many different afflictions, one of which is an unbroken chain of lower highs ever since. Please don't do this to me today, charts, please. Oh, jeez. I'm asking nicely, says the Katina man. 10:20 a.m., topping tail candle into 237. It's a symphony of lower highs. Alas, we are at a critical area. I perceive $2 to be an important area, not least of which because it was a pre-market top that we couldn't shake, but it is the psychological area of support at times, the whole dollar level. So we're giving this the old college try, already wetting beak here on some profits, but we are very clearly not above this downtrend line at the moment. Box L up 58.9. EGHT, I'm just going to call this 8, okay? Big breakout. Okay, the charts are acting funny, so you guys are just going to have to be patient with me a little bit over here. I'm trying to be patient with the charts. You guys are going to have to be patient with me. EGHT, big breakout on volume in the aftermarket yesterday, probably an earnings play. I don't care. I'm going to keep my eye on this one. I like the breakout above 2 1/3. Very clear area of resistance in the implied balance high. There was a triple top there of sorts. Right around 233. And then moreover, we were basically right around that area as a level of resistance in the aftermarket yesterday. We wicked above there. We didn't close above 2 1/3 in that aftermarket pump. This morning, we used 2 1/3, again as a level of resistance. So first and foremost, I'm looking at that 10 EMA on the 5. That's 242 at the moment on EGHT. That doesn't hold. I'm looking for a buy zone. 235 to 230. Reason being, volume weighted average price 230. I perceive the breakout level to be 235. Here it is. It's losing the 10 EMA. It's at 39. It probably behooves me to get ready with an order over here on this monster. EGHT is the ticker on the NQ. What we're going to do is we're going to get in here. We're at 37s, and then we're going to DCA into 230. It's going to be a planned DCA, so let's go ahead and throw out those orders now. I'm going to pick them up. So I got 38, so let's go ahead and wait at 35, and then I'll also wait at 32. Okay, just right around that area. Here comes that 35 order, not quite there yet. So we're packing the patience here on EGHT, looking for a move up. Now, there's more. I want to talk about end phase. I will get to end phase. I likely will, if their pickings are going to continue to be slim like they are right now, we're going to weasel into end phase, look for it, to trade it, I should say, as a small cap gapper. Obviously, it's not. But the point is, we're going to try to treat it like one because it's up 37% on the day, like a psycho. So that's a good look there. And then last but not least, I want to bring this one in. It's very, very kind of sparsely traded, I want to say, relative to its counterparts over here, with about 9 million shares traded right now at around... what's the price? $3.70. But here it is, baby, into freaking highs. RKLZ. Sorry, guys. The charts, yeah. The charts are just been acting crazy lately. There we go. Into the day high. This has been very directional. However, the volume profile and the price action are diverging. Lower highs on the volume bars, higher lows and higher highs on the price action. That usually means a bit of a mean reversion trade, maybe down into 3.5. We'll have to wait and see, but RKLZ for my American friends. I usually say Z, but we're going to be looking for this one as well. Feed is bleeding its own blood. It was up nicely this morning, but clearly breaking down in about like 10 pennies off the high. And then you'll see SMCX there. Obviously, that's an SMCI leveraged ETF. I'm not going to trade it quite yet because this one, much like BOXL, is continuing to put in lower lows. Well, I shouldn't say lower lows, lower highs. It's basically an unbroken lower high trend at the moment. Just give me a second here for the charts to load. It's really bad, the last few days. I don't really know what the hell is going on. We're going to switch to e-signal here because this is absolute hot garbage. In any event, so that's what we're looking at right now, Joey, SMCX.
Yes, sir.
We're going to look to trade that possibly as a small cap gapper-ish style trade.
I appreciate that, John. Yeah, easy for me, not for you. Oh, okay, yeah. Sharif mentioned you earlier today.
I like that name,
we like that one. Let's go through a couple of these chats here. Like, obviously, engaging with you guys and having good conversation. So, I mean, MSTR based its earnings off of Bitcoin hitting, I believe it was like 150K or $250,000. That's not going to be the case. I'm not going to say this year, but for that report and obviously the quarter. So this name, surprisingly, so you never know how the market's going to react, but I think it's going to continue to bleed here because it just didn't hit any of those targets. And to have that type of projection, I think is it's insane. But yeah, John, it's good, man. Slow and steady. That's the name of the race, right? So we'll continuously heal here, starting to hobble around the house a bit with. I'm not going to say anything. I don't want to incriminate myself because my grandma might be listening and she. So anyways, but yeah, slow and steady here, guys. Damn, Monster Short Joe says sports clips. Yeah, it's working out with us so far. I mean, I only have 5% left of this position. We'll just take it out if we run into that $77 mark. But yeah, that's what I was thinking short here in the TQQs. But let's run through a couple of names from a daily. And I mean, this is what we're talking about. We've seen the same pattern on multiple names. And I think that's just going to be the narrative, right? Like the first one to crack, obviously I'm a major holder in Robinhood. It broke through that support level that we were talking about. You snap that neckline, and sure enough, you're starting to bleed here. This is like 7-8 days in a row to the downside, so you give up the majority of the returns there, 404%, and then sure enough, you're only up 150. Oh, only up 150% from those April lows. Boo-hoo, right? And it's the same thing with SoFi. SoFi breaking that neckline. You know where I'm leading next? That's going to be Palantir. Palantir. It's only a matter of time until it starts to really head lower. Maybe 125 might be one of those marks where you find a bounce or anything. But yeah, support levels starting to be broken. And then next up is AMD, right? So there's just identical patterns across the board. Once this $200 mark breaks on AMD, we might see a little bit lower here. And then same thing with NVDA. It's unfortunate. This thing is not looking good whatsoever. But Gaurav and I were talking in the chat, and it's like, man, this is just the nature of the beast. Things aren't looking good right now. We've had this multi-month consolidation here in NVDA. You break down, you grab the liquidity, and the next thing you know, 5 to 6 months from now, things aren't looking so bad, and people are a little bit more optimistic. So yeah, I think that's just the narrative, guys. Hold on tight. If you have some ability to lock in some profits and get some things at some better prices, I think that's going to be the narrative. If you head over to some staples like Walmart, right? If you're looking for a flight to safety, maybe it's the staples that are slightly in play here as well too, Sharif. Yes, just the tech trade really starting to cool off, and that's just how it is, man. It's either going to lead or it's going to drag the whole market down, and we're unfortunately in the latter half of that occasion. So we'll take a look at my friend CrowdStrike. Yeah, I mean, we're getting a little bit of a bounce there in CRWV.
Have you seen Pan-Dub?
Is it going?
Not in a good way, bro.
Oh, yeah, it's going
not in a good way.
But man, it's just the same thing.
It's breaking structure big time.
It's the same thing,
I think it's getting disrupted by that whole software counter trade that we've been talking about, AI disrupting, and this is kind of part and parcel with that, man.
Absolutely, man. And I think, but see, the thing is, the way that I'm looking at it, Sharif, is that it's short-term noise. Right, it's short-term noise. Like eventually, like the fundamentals are still there. They're good earnings reports. We're not going to deny that.
They're good.
Right? It's just short-term noise. You have the profit taking, and we're going to pull this up as well too. So you got your boy, sitting in third there from 8th to 3rd, and then we got Sean jumping a couple spots right there. But Obi, 29%. This guy's going to be a tough one to catch. But you know who it is? Your boy going from 8th to 3rd. Once again, we're over here, Sharif. So I mean, yeah, man. we're having a good time on that one. A nice little bounce, 1.3%. Adara sitting in that second place. But if it wasn't for Walmart and my boy JPM really starting to recover, I mean, we can rock and roll, but we're sitting in that 3rd place spot right now.
You know who might be calling very soon?
Who's that?
not her.
Oh.
We should have another one called Margin.
Margin. The Margin boys
You might be getting the call. Yeah, the Margin boys are going to be calling. They want their money.
Who are they calling?
They're going to be calling some people who are leveraged.
Oh,
my boy. I don't
if they haven't already, like
right?
Bitcoin people, the Bitcoin community has just been getting slack since like November. Ever since that mass liquidation date, it's just been like absolute a beating to the pulp. It's like, hey, they're tapping out. The ref is stopping everything, and they're still pounding the table. They're still beating the crypto space down. Speaking of the devil, man, I haven't even looked at it today. Poor old Bitcoin. I mean, there you go, down to 73,000.
No.
Yeah, we're gonna crack this support level. We're right at the IBIT IPO there. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we head into the 50s at this point. I'm not even gonna say poor old Michael Saylor, man. He's got all his eggs in one basket. That's up to him. It's still my largest holding, and it's unfortunate what's going on. But I'm sure enough, it might rebound, right? It doesn't look good right now, but I think if you just kind of a couple years out, 2028, leading into the halving cycle,
yes, sir.
You never know what's gonna happen.
There's an Arsenal player called Gabriel Jesus. So you know Gyökeres goes like this. Gabriel Jesus goes like this.
Who's he calling?
Well, here's the thing.
Yeah.
So when he moved from Brazil, yes, Assassino exactly knows who he is. When he moved from the team in Brazil, he got bought by City. You know, Manchester City, obviously.
Yeah.
He was dating a girl. She would never, well, he was in love with a girl, but she wouldn't return any of his calls until he got bought by City, and then he became big, and then all of a sudden she was calling him. So this was his thing the entire time. I love that, man.
What's that one soccer player's name who put all his assets under his mom?
Oh, Ashraf Hakimi.
Yeah,
the Moroccan guy.
Shout out to Ashraf Hakimi.
Yes, sir. Oh, yes, Notorious Dingleberg. Arsenal absolutely owns Chelsea. Y'all got dismissed yesterday. We'll see who wins today. It's City versus Newcastle in the second leg of the semifinal for the League Cup. We're going to be watching that. We're gonna have to go to the gym a little bit later. It is 2-0 City on aggregate, so we're gonna see if Newcastle can win away because they got whooped by City 2-0 at home. So it's gonna be a good one today. We'll find out who Arsenal faces in the semifinal. But you know who I'm facing right now, Joey Options?
Who you facing?
8. EGHT. We got it long at 32. We just wet the beak there at 46. We're doing it live. We're looking for the next print here at 48, and then we're moving for the 50. So this one's still suffering from that same affliction of lower highs, despite the fact it was a clean chef's kiss bounce off the volume weighted average price, still south of 50 pennies, still south of the 257 high a day. So we're going to keep close tabs on this one. But you know what I'm going to get into now? I'm going to take your trade right there, but I'm going to take it from this side. We're going to go ZSL long, baby. Load. There we go. We're taking it long because it held up the 10 EMA on the 5. There it is. A clean hold, I think, at 211. We don't get a good price, 214. Let's go ahead and set up some beak wetters for the possible high day break. ZSL looks quite good. It's a 220 high. Pulls back into the 10 EMA where it had found support before. Last beak wetter there goes above the day high at 221, high day 220. So that's what I'm keeping my eye.
Sorry, but we must be getting close to like Saylor's average price here. It's at 73,000. Didn't they say it was in the 60s or something?
We can find out. Where's your friend Copilot?
I haven't even talked to Copilot in quite some time. I'm sure Adara's got some of that information for us.
209, I think. We'll find out.
Yeah,
we'll find out in a second there,
Joey. If anybody else knows, it's 78K, 73K. So we're sounding like the 70s, man. Saylor is down,
Yeah, well, he's down, he's out. Well, we'll find out, Joey. We'll find out what the situation is going to be there. But it's no good for the crypto bulls like myself. Look, quite frankly, we are now, I think, a little bit out of the money on our IBIT trade. Not by much, because we did add, remember, during that tariff tantrum dip into the 70s, but it's not good to watch all those profits fade away into the night. So we're going to continue to kind of be strategic about where we add, but we're going to take it a little bit easy. I already added. I don't need to be adding again, and we'll have more to say on that once we find a base, if we find a base. So I'm looking here at end phase. I'm seeing that it's putting in some higher lows. It's not necessarily putting in any higher highs at the moment, but I'm thinking about getting into this trade. But when you don't trade these non-small cap gappers for a while, it gets to be a little tough. Now, I'm seeing some higher lows. Sorry, guys, about the charts today. I'm seeing some higher lows here on end phase. I'll show it over here until this one loads. There does seem to be a general area of support for whatever reason at $51. And you can kind of see the wicks that all kind of defend that $51 area. It seems to be finding support at the 20 EMA on the 5, but it's not making any higher highs. And it's also having trouble with this area right here, with the high of which is 51 and a fifth. We haven't been above that. We keep trying, but we can't clear that 51 and a fifth area. None of these prints subsequent to the candle at 1050 are above 51 and a fifth. So let's see if we can clear that. I mean, I can set up a position here for 50. I can put a prior bar low because it doesn't seem to be breaking prior bar low, actually. That's a good observation. So prior bar low, 51.10. We're showing 51.29. I can do that. Then, you know, if we get in, it won't be that bad of a stop out, which is exactly what I'm going to do. Let's give this one the old call try. We'll go for smaller share size over here. We'll go 51.10, I said it was, so we'll give it a little bit of room, 51.07, and that's what we're doing. So we have 32s on right now. Let's set up some profit takers in the 40s, and then we'll set up some in the 50s. Maybe we'll get a little bit lucky, and we'll get a nice price spike up of sorts. But anything below 51.10 is going to end the trade for me. Simple as that. We're not going to take any chances with this one, especially so high up on the day. How's ZSL doing? Well, we got 14s on. It's showing me 15s. Nothing to write home about there, but we're going to keep tabs on that. And we're still keeping tabs on BOXL because this one is still putting in that symphony of lower highs, seems to be finding support at VWAP. That you got an inverse hammer candle at 11.15 bottoming till, but that downtrend still hasn't been broken. So once that downtrend gets broken, if it gets broken, I weasel in. Simple as that. N-phase is going to stop me out. It looks like it's right at 51.10. Yeah, so we'll lose immediately on N-phase. Immediately. Holy hell. Holy hell. Yeah, okay. So that's the issue there. What do you got, Joe?
All right, good look there, guys. We're just keeping our eyes out here on SLV as we're slowly giving away its gains. We're still slightly positive, but heading right towards that low of the day. I would have liked to have a reload, but that's okay. We'll hold on to our little 5%, see if we can run into that $77 mark, and then we'll take our last little bit out there. So not too bad of a look on SLV. Once again, we were trading N-phase as well. So the game plan was we had this consolidative zone. We were consolidating. We get that move higher. Sorry, we were here. It was like 15 minutes. And I'm like, all right, if it's going to be strong, we're going to go and test that high of the day and then maybe break it. I thought we would get that move into $53, but we didn't quite. So it was like around 50. Oh, yeah, just a little bit low, 52.80s or something along those lines. And then we're starting to head back in. So there might be a potential short here on N-phase, Sharif.
Yeah, it does look like that.
If it breaks VWAP, there might be some more downside. SMCI, I was thinking about this was higher up on my list this morning. I mean, we had Uber, SLV, and SMCI were the primary. Then N-phase was involved as well too. So I had 4 tickers on the. There we go. We'll pull it up there, even though you're not going to be able to see anything that we got going on there, Assassino. It's a Beastie Boys video right there. But other than that, guys, that's what we have. And I mean, silver working for us. I still believe it's in play, but it might be more or less to the downside. So a gap fill was essentially the strategy here for today. So you get that move, get the gap up into 82.75, and then sure enough, you fill it to the downside, and now you're heading a little bit lower. This will eventually be a gap fill play, even though it's not very much, and this is SLV, so keep an eye out on that. But the volatility most definitely in. With that being said, let's take a look at the options chain on SLV, because we know that it was in the hundreds, right? Like 177% at its peak. Let's see if that's really starting to cool down, 152%. So you can still sell the volatility on this thing, and I think you'll be sitting in a pretty good position. We'll go further date. We'll go about a week out or so, 7 days, and we'll just see what the 90s are paying. Not too much, yeah, so I don't even really know if it's worth it at this point, but if you are an options writer, I think just selling the volatility 108%, the further you go out, the cooler the IV is going to be. So, yeah, I mean, if you're looking to write this stuff, maybe even the 80s, you collect a little bit more, and you only have to hold that for a little bit more than 1 trading week. So, not too bad. And there goes silver cracking the LOD to the downside. Oh, yeah, you're in ZSL. Nice work there, brother. Talk to us about that one.
Yeah, it's coming into highs, Joey. That's where it's at highs right now, 220. It's showing 220 on the ask. There's a seller there. There's monster size, but we've seen this story with ZSL before, where there's monster size at the level and it just absolutely gets decimated to the upside, because this is an inverse ETF. So what do we got on? We got 14s. We're knocking the door at 20s. A couple of beak wetters here. Nothing to write home about. Looking for continuation. really going to try to ride trend here. This is still down on the day, 2%, so perhaps the target here would be good to go break even. We're going to keep tabs on that. Now, separately, I've worked into another trade over here called ZCMD. We're going to get stopped out of that immediately. We lost about 2 pennies on that one. Let me just see quickly over here. Very, very little damage. So this one showed up on my scanner. It's up 122%, and it's knocking on the door of that 100% area, and that $1 area, 97 penny high, coming back down into 85. The levels are as follows: VWAP 82, 10 EMA on the 5, 70. So again, one of those anomalous situations where the volume weighted average price is ahead of the 10 EMA on the 5 as a result of the quick price action development over here. So let's keep an eye out on this one and see if it can clear $1. So far, not yet. Box L may be changing shape here. I'm going to wait for a further clearing of the uptrend line, the downtrend line, pardon me. So it's breaking it at the moment, but not by enough to get me interested. This is what I'm talking about right here. Perfunctory kind of breach. I'm going to look for something above 210. I might even put a breakout trade above 210. In fact, I've kind of convinced myself into it. So let's go ahead and throw in a 210 breakout, and we'll just give it 2 pennies worth of spread, and we'll go for that many shares. So that's what we got on right now. We'll take a breakout trade on BOXL if it is able to clear $2.10. Separately, EGHT8 is dropping below that $0.50. It's still holding the 10 EMA on the 5, but I've de-risked the majority of the position because it's still putting in lower highs. So is unable to put in any higher highs. That to me means the short or the sellers are still in control at the moment. And unless and if we clear the sellers or show that the buyers are starting to overwhelm sellers vis-a-vis the appropriate chart pattern, we're not going to get more into this. So we took the VWAP bounce, fantastic. We made money on it, fantastic. But we're basically taking it out here before it bleeds down. So keeping an eye here on ZSL as it rejects 20. We did get the print at 19, bless you, Ram. But we're looking for that clearing of that 20 penny level. My next profit taker by definition will be a new high if it is to fill, because it is above that that high a day. Keeping an eye here on ZCMD, so I did get stopped out of that. I'm going to get back in because it's holding above the 10 EMA, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it to a current bar low. And it's already rocketing up. All right, 88, we just got 91s there. Let's set up at 93s. Let's see if this one wants to make yet another attempt at that $1 area. There it goes, right back into 90, selling into 90, selling into that 90 area. We'll set up some profit takers. What's my move, though? I'm just going to give this a prior bar low. So prior bar low takes us, I don't know about that, into 75. Let's watch this one a little bit. Let's see if the buyers are going to step in. Let me have a look at the tape. Already zigging and zagging here, man. Yeah, I might have to give this one an opportunity to bleed a little bit and pick up some off a more advantageous area. I'm going to go ahead and wait at 80. I'm going to front run it by a couple of shekels to see if we can get something in and around that level. But yeah, this one is a bit of a bamboozler, Joey, up 120%, but can't seem to clear that dollar area. That could be a problem.
All right, good look there. We're going to take a gander at one of these names from my boy, Top VoIP. Yeah, I think with the short report, I can't remember the name of it. It was a cool name. Adara definitely does. But whoever released that one there, you're down a little bit here, 21.25 from that previous pivot high. You get that double top type price action. You're seeing a little bit of a stall in this consolidation zone right here. So keep your eyes on it. I think Carvana's in a little bit of trouble. Maybe you get that move back down to 284, but we don't want to get ahead of ourselves. Take it day by day, but a strong sell price action right here. Boom, to the downside, and then maybe you're getting a little bit of a continuation. So, I mean, the thing is with that shorting this thing, I think the ideal way to go is just like buy an OTM put, and then sure enough, like if you get that 285, you collect any form of intrinsic value, just time value on that, because if you buy like that 284, it's $100 away, it's gonna be tough, right? So you'd want an aggressive sell day. We are starting to form a little bit of a shelf here. So let's actually pull it up and do it live, Sharif.
All right.
Because we have the ability to do so, right? With CVNA. Let's go. It's going to probably be pretty expensive. Maybe not, though, considering it might be drastically out of the money. But 280, yeah, okay, I wouldn't even spend that much on that, to be honest with you. 280 mark, 72 days out, April 17th. That's costing you $1,700 for that put. But if you do get any sort of an aggressive slide, then maybe you can see that really start to really gain as many. These contracts are 15K, 20K. NVDA right there. So I love looking at those, man. That's some crazy stuff. Let's see what you guys are looking at. The Spyro. Spyro is, oh, wasn't that a game? Spyro the Dragon? Spyro the Dragon. That was a game. Yeah, you know that one. Spyro the Dragon. I remember that game. He's thinking long Bitcoin. Best of luck to you, my friend. You know, rest in peace, Tom Lee says Macro Morales. Yeah. I mean, it is what it is, guys, man. But I don't feel bad for them whatsoever. But yeah, aside from that, Bitcoin. Guys, you haven't seen me trade it in quite some time, and I don't think it's going to be in play. And I don't want to short it, right? Like I just hold too heavy of a bias, unfortunately, in that. So we'll find other vehicles to short and trade. Next week's $345 put says top VWAP. Okay, that could be a solid potential play. Doggo was saying long NVDA here. Yeah, so let's take a look at NVDA. We're going to send it over to Adara momentarily. But let's see if there's a potential bottom in here in NVDA. No, I don't like it, man. 175. Nothing is telling me that this trend line is breaking. And look at the buying pressure. It's very, very minuscule. And it looks like we want to head towards the low of the day. If you crack this trend line and then you hold on multiple occasions, I think you're going to be okay. We're going to hold off on Adara right now as soon as we get the green light. But long NVDA, I don't know if it's a day to be catching this falling knife, Sharif.
All right, man, we're scalp.
We're here. Guys, thank you very much for that. I do want to mention here Bitcoin. I was reading some commentary here. Some analysts saying that this could be a bottom, but others saying that if we break below 70,000, we could basically see a 60,000 touch here for BTC. So just be aware for Bitcoin, that's some levels people are looking at. That resistance right now standing at 80,000. It is worth noting, U.S. Secretary of the Treasury, Scott Bessent, he's still speaking at a very heated House Financial Services Committee meeting, talking a little bit about the Feds. Just be aware, saying that it's Trump's right to voice his opinion about the Fed's monetary policy, and that apparently the Federal Reserve has lost the trust of the American people. Now, the reason I bring up Scott Bessent right now, other than the fact that those comments are just coming in, is because he did comment on stablecoins once again. He's been very vocal on stablecoins, but when asked about the Genius Act, Scott Bessent basically said that he thinks it's going to be really good for stablecoins, increase their circulation, and also help the U.S. government. So some stablecoin talk, nothing major there, but be aware that that is on the table, at least being discussed right now by Scott Bessent at this hearing. Back to you.
All right, Joey, you were in the middle of something?
No, I was sending it over to you, my
All right.
Hey, do you think we need to order shorts for end phase? I don't know if it's a great idea to short a stock that's up 36%, but maybe
is it borrow? Did you try?
No, I didn't.
For locates, give it a try. Go
give it a try.
Small and see what the situation is, and then if we need to, we will. All right, ZCMD, we're doing it live. It seems to be finding support generally in the high 70s. That's the third candle in a row on the 5-minute chart that seems to find support in and around. I'll give you guys a level here. About 77 to 78 pennies. Into 84 we go. Looking for that move up over here into the dollar. It's a 97 penny high, but we're still dilly-dallying. I'm looking at getting more off the 10 EMA. If it loses the 10 EMA, I'm out. Simple as that. I'm also keeping a close eye here on BoxL. Because it's continuing to kind of consolidate. It had been unbroken in the lower high pattern that it had been putting in since the topping tail candle at 1020. And now for 3 candles in a row since 1120, we have a 205 seller, but it's not making any lower lows, and it has that same flat top at around 205. So that one is of interest to me, certainly. I did add a little bit more here in his ZSL. If this loses prior bar or prior area low, I should say, the candle at 1115, the low of which is 209, I'm out. 210, so I'll get out at 209. Let's go ahead and do that for ZSL, which we have that many shares. All right, good. So let's throw that in there. So we'll throw in the stop. And then I'm starting to see maybe a bit of a change in tune here, NEGHT. So it's not exactly putting in higher highs, but now it's actually putting in higher lows and kind of doing a local curling effect. I don't want to try to guess, so I'm going to insist that it print above that 246, 247 area. If it does, I'll add more into EGHT for a possible take of that high day. First, we got to clear that $0.50 though, that we've been certainly having trouble with locally over here. We spent very, very little time above the $0.50. Only 2 candles on the 5 actually breached it. One closed above it, the 1050 candle, and then the 1055 candle, all hell broke loose to the downside. So yeah, that one is continuing to show you that it has selling in and around that area. Continue to watch ZCMD over here for the hold of the 10 EMA. Didn't quite get that dip trade into 76, despite the fact that it glanced at it, it touched it, but didn't cross, so we don't get the print. So we'll keep tabs on that. And one, I mentioned it at the top, but I've executed nothing on it, is RKLZ. It's looking good, man. It's coming back as well into that 365, pardon me, which is the 10 EMA on the 5. And it's found a lot of support at that 10 EMA. It's been quite directional, up 24%.
Is that a Rocket Lab?
It could be, yeah. Let me just take a quick look. RKLZ.
Sounds like
yes,
yeah,
short Rocket Lab
yeah.
ETF 2 times, Joey.
Right on.
Yeah,
right
second
on.
2 times leverage. All right, keeping an eye here on ZSL. In the 16 it goes, so it's still holding the 10 EMA, but it's unable to clear that 220. So this could be a flat top break on ZSL because we keep getting resistance at $2.20. That would likely mean that it's looking like a flat bottom break on the actual silver chart or SLV. So you guys are gonna have to look at that. I'm not gonna bother. But yeah, this one looks like higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, all the while that 220 area is acting as a staunchy area of resistance. Here comes ZCMD coming into my area. Now it gets filled at 76. Let's go ahead and throw in the stop there. Yep, let's go just like that, and then we'll give it to here for this many shares. Let's see if it holds up. Yeah, so we'll have to wait and see. If it loses the 10, I'm out. Simple as that. So finding a little bit of support right now at the 10, Joey. But yeah, this one looks like it's going to give it up here as it comes down, rejecting or dropping below VWAP and into the 10 EMA. Unless buyers are going to step in here, we're going to get stopped out.
You're going to get stopped out. Stopped out. It won't let me out. Yeah, well, we got out because we got stopped out.
Boxell's breaking trend here, guys. I still have that. Oh my God, it lured everybody in, and wow, the bamboozlement. Look what it did. Look what it did. It broke that 205 with aggressive buying, and the shorts were just waiting. Where are the longs that are going to come in here above 205? And they caught them offside, didn't break out above 210. That's why I didn't get in, and it drops all the way down into 187. Jeez Louise. Yeah, they were waiting for that. So, okay. So that shows you Boxell's character there, or it's likely trading character is what I mean there. So we're going to have to keep an eye out on that. And thank goodness. Look at this.
Ooh.
Look at this out.
See it.
Look at this out. And now it's going to hold down.
You got stopped out?
I got stopped out, but at least I didn't bleed to death.
Or we should say we got out.
Yeah, no, this is a 10 penny drop that I would have lost there on that halt. So ZCMD down, bleeding its own blood. It lost VWAP. It lost the 10 EMA. I'm now negative on it. So we're going to have to look to something else to make some money. And we're looking at ZSL here, Joey, because it is pumping right back into the high side, and we got more shares on this one.
Yeah, we're getting really close to the low of the day once again on silver. EMPH looks like it wants to break down. I feel that's going to be a grinder to the downside. I would prefer to get the top end of the range, but people are talking about IBKR. Shout out to IBKR as it's still holding up around this neck of the woods.
Not shout out to their charts, though.
Not shout out to, you got to go on the advance, my boy. Hop on the advance.
They suck, bro.
Yeah,
you know they suck.
I mean, all right, anyway, aside from that, guys, we're only down a couple of percentage points here, and whoa, that's a little bit more than I was expecting, but I mean, it's only a $70, $80 name, $73 name. The peak was just a little bit under 80 bucks there. We're down 7.25 on IBKR, but you guys already, you probably don't know where I'm going, but now you do because I typed it in right there.
Crazy.
That's going to be TKO Holdings, my boy. We love this one, and we're going to get involved in it for sure. There's a nice little pullback to 190, but right back to the top side. A little bit of a consolidated phase going on right now. You're stuck within that $15 range, but TKO Holdings, we're a big-time fan of. We already went over Carvana, and you know the narrative and where I stand with some of these with the check trade. You're gonna get that you're gonna get that support break, right? I'm pretty confident. I'm gonna put my money where my mouth is, essentially, and say you're probably gonna see a little bit of price action south of these support zones, and then sure enough, you'll see price turn around, wait for that downtrend, wait for it to crack, and then that's when we're gonna get rocking and rolling. And then who knows what the latter half of 2026 is gonna bring, right? We're gonna endure a couple more months probably of this selling. We have NVDA and Palantir. I think they're gonna really start to get aggressively to the downside. I mean, what are we off? from a percentage metric from that 206 mark. You're down 34%. Robinhood's been getting hit even harder, guys. And trust me, I love this name. Been in it for quite some time. The earnings aren't going to change. And what's really unfortunate is that like it's heavily, people feel that it's heavily, almost 50% there in Robinhood. That's not good. I don't like the correlation between this name and Bitcoin. I think it needs to disassociate itself with it because I think it's so much better, like so much more of a platform than just being a Bitcoin trader or anything along those lines. There's so much going for it, whether it be the gold membership. You see the increase in activity of Vlad's bringing you tokenization and into the private market in Europe as well too. He's going to be getting you that IPO price. So there's a lot going on here with Robinhood. It's just getting hit really heavy right now, but we know a couple years, I think the narrative is going to be completely different a year and a half from now. It's like, oh, well, Robinhood was all the way down to $80. It's trading at $200 now or something along those lines. I could be totally wrong as well, but I think that's just the beast of the market, guys. Yeah, let's head over to Tesla. Haven't even looked at this bad boy today either and see what it's up to from a daily. Breaking down. I mean, hey, it's the same thing, same narrative. Look how, like, we can go through so many names and look how identical the price action is. If this neckline breaks, well, guess what? Wait for a little bit lower, and then I think you slowly start to allocate. It does seem like the sky is falling right now. Things aren't pretty, but don't forget, we've been on over a year-and-a-half run, like from not a little bit more, but April, a little bit less, sorry, from April, it was just straight to the top side where you've seen insane returns. The Nasdaq 20%, you had the SPY 20% as well too, triple digits in a lot of different signal equities. So it's just be patient, let things kind of cook up here. You get that gap fill almost here in Meta. You pull back aggressively. The big boys are going to be just fine. It's just short-term selling, and I think it's something where, because we're day trading, we're hyper-focused on it, and sometimes you just get that tunnel vision. It's like, oh no, what is going on here? I'm speaking to myself as well too. While I'm talking to you guys, is just relax, be patient, and allow things to cool off. The sky was falling after COVID as well too. You had that nice bull market, and then sure enough, when things started to cool down and you go into QT, you go in that 8 month to a year bear market, and then sure enough, look what happened after. Everything pushed back to new all-time highs. Zoom out, look what the Nasdaq has done over time, right?
Have you thought about what
just going straight?
No, the unwinding of this sort of software SaaS trade. Have you thought about the market implications of this? Of, you know, really bringing everything in-house and not having to outsource to SaaS companies like your CRMs, your others, because you can do everything in-house, either with specific coding, because your coding costs are going to be different, and your hosting costs now, you can do everything in-house as well, which is, I don't want to say a one-off cost, but it's a one-off CapEx, and then there's a servicing cost. That could be super disruptive to certain companies, but very accretive to other ones, because think about how much money they're going to save on a recurring revenue basis.
That's what I was going to get at, right? Like, so not only that, you're going to have an increase in margins, you're going to see earnings go through the roof, essentially. So it's like, okay, yeah, things may not look so good right now, but this is what AI is supposed to do. They're supposed to make companies more efficient. This is what you're looking for. Right, now, the market may be punishing it right now, but in the long term, what happens when you have that efficiency really start to ramp up? Exactly. And then sure enough, you have these stocks going to all-time highs because they don't have to spend as much money.
Well, exactly it, man. I mean, I echo that sentiment wholeheartedly. It's just, you know, until it happens, there's that element of unknown, and that unknown usually scares the hell out of some people, right? All right, super chat. Look at the screen, my man. We're in it right now. So SUNE showed up on the scanners late. It's a small cap gapper de novo. Let's just go with that. I'm waiting for the beak wetter at 16s. Pardon me, at 18s. Then we're looking for a high of day into 20. This did breach the 10 EMA, found support at the 20, and then put in 2 higher lows. This is the third. So let's see if it can clear 115. There's some selling coming in right now, up 46%. It's done about a little bit less than 14 million shares, 13.7. So we're going to watch this one, and we'll report back to you. But right now, we're going to the big desk.
Interesting catalyst here for MNDY. I do bring this up because, as you can see, we just had a sharp 3-minute candle to the downside. Deirdre Bosa, CNBC anchor and reporter, posting on X a couple minutes ago about how she, quote, vibe coded a Monday.com replica with Claude Cowork. So I guess showing how easily Monday can be replaced and coded, I guess. Again, Deirdre Bosa, CNBC reporter, saying that she and her coworkers, quote, vibe quoted a Monday replica. MNDY actually dropping on this, guys. Back to you.
That's exactly what we were just talking about. And there's others. There are other reasons, guys. This Claude bot, I mean, as deficient in securities and kind of limited as it may be at the moment, is proof of concept that you can host these things locally. It's just we got to figure out the security issue. So I think this is super disruptive to the market. I think we all knew that this was coming, but maybe not on this time frame. I'm seeing more videos of this Claude bot thing on TikTok. And you gotta see the creative ways that people are using it. Again, always with the caveat that it is not secure. It's not secure from, a sense that it can be impeded using these exterior kind of, what do they call them, prompts that people can access your system or change the settings and collect your own data. There's issues with it. I'm not trying to advocate for that specifically, but it is going to be industry disrupting on a time frame that I don't think everybody was expecting. No. We're doing it live here, Joey, on ZSL. This one continues to show its propensity to flat top break. Again, we move into 220. Again, we're met with selling. And again, we have higher lows. So I'm so interested to see if this one can break. Ichiro, I always like to see what this guy has to say because I think we think alike. I'm not sure it was a good idea to make it this easy. Yeah, it's not good for the portfolios, Ichiro, certainly, especially if you're holding some of these SaaS companies like myself. I'm holding Pandub. That's really the only SaaS exposure I have, and I'm not very happy with my Pandub position lately. And yeah, well off the top as well. So that displeases me greatly, but that is the nature of trading. I've seen, what's it called? Crowd has got hit as well. Zscaler's got hit. None of them have been spared.
Zscaler. Yeah, I know. I hear what you're saying. Yeah, Tony. You know what, Tony? I seen you singing that earlier this morning, and I'm like, hey, man, I was gonna actually say that. Easy pay. Okay, guys, I made a little bit of a hockey error here. We're gonna post off. I mean, Zscaler did, or not Zscaler. Enphase did break that $50 mark, and SMCI is breaking neckline. So that's kind of just the system that I've been running as of late. Like I have my VWAP breakup. I have my. I want to take this off, to be honest with you, so we're gonna do that. I wanted to short right here at 84s and for that neckline break, but I went long by accident and then I got out immediately, so not too bad whatsoever. Obviously you can see that's a break even, but yeah, I'm thinking short SMCI at this neckline break. Let's pull it up for you so you can see a little bit more clearly, and that's gonna be that 32.93 mark. I think we can head back into 31. We're going to most definitely be getting into SMCI later in the day around the news time. Obviously, after Luis comes on, we're going to be getting involved with that. Razor thin margins, razor thin margins, and for some reason the stock is still up 10%. But yeah, a little bit of an error there, guys. We're not going to write home about it or anything along those lines. We'll wait to see if we're fortunate enough to get somewhat of a pullback. But Enphase is starting to lose the neckline as well too. There goes silver, new LOD, Sharif. Did I say that right? Yeah. So you're still long as ZSL. Nice work there as silver is continuously bleeding.
Why does she do this to me, bro? Like she just randomly just
that's
wants
a good
to
one.
put me
I like that's a good one.
Man. Yeah. Bro, she's.
That's one of my that's my go-to when I'm in a picture somewhere. I'm just like, yeah, just look at the landscape.
When you want to when you want to do it, not when your stomach is showing. You know what I mean? I was crop topping like Zeke Elliott.
Look at my belly.
You watching Z? You there goes ZSL. I know you are, man. SLV, your boy Joey Options is SLV. That's the short. I'm taking it the other way, the long. We kept telling y'all this one was going to flat top break. There it goes. We added to this one too. I'm more pleased I could not be because it did hold up on the 10 EMA after it popped into 220, made a higher low. That was my key to say, get in a little bit more. We just went the beak at 25s. Let's go ahead 27s. Let's go ahead 29s. Let's go ahead 32s. Let's see what we can get up here. ZSL now, greenery on the day. To take out to turn green, we had to get above 223. Alas, we are showing 225. Go, ZSL, go. Craig, Joe, Sharif, are we surprised AMD is down 17? I think we both said this, including Adara yesterday. We said if it missed earnings or the guide didn't come in as hot as expected, this was going to get clipped. It did. It's down 17, 16.84. So that's kind of the nature of the beast. Especially because we kept talking about the fact that the expectations kept rising and rising and rising into earnings. And when they do that and you don't beat or beat decisively, you're going to get clipped.
The street is looking for a dramatic surprise, and unfortunately that wasn't necessarily the case. But we'll hit the Stone Cold one more time for our boy Sharif, as he is in ZSL. We love that one there. We're going to hit this one as well, too, as we're having a good time here today, guys. Man, I missed that opportunity on SMCI. Maybe it's going to rise once again. We're getting that pop. If we do run into $33, maybe we take that short. But, brother, our end phase short that we were talking about, I know you're thinking long, but I was thinking, hey, man, this might be a short, especially if
it could be a bounced VWAP, though.
Average.
This is a VWAP, $50 VWAP. It could be. I'm not taking it.
Short, are you saying,
no, because it's just that VWAP. So when you get to VWAP, everybody who's shorting covers because people are gunning for VWAP. And then
unless the momentum picks up, right? I like shorting the VWAP play as well, too.
When it breaks down.
Yeah.
I think has it broken down? It's like right at it.
Yeah, it's like a little bit.
I'm not touching it here.
Yeah, to the short side. Totally fair. Totally understandable. But there goes SL. I can't get that one straight. And then SLV.
Let me cover something here.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
ComputerNet, brother. It did include China. That is incorrect. We're going to look at the. I'm going to do this quickly over here, but I want to let you know that the China revenue was included in the report, and here it is. AMD disclosed $390 million in China revenue from the MI308 during Q4, and they expect only $100 million in AI chip revenue in the current quarter. This does include China. I made sure to look to see whether China revenue was included for the specific reason to juxtapose it with NVIDIA so that we can see what kind of NVIDIA orders we're getting from China and compare them to AMD and kind of try to assess who has the bigger market share there, proportionally, of course, relative to their size. We know NVIDIA is a lot larger. So I just want to make that point. AMD disclosed both the realized earnings and the future guidance for the current quarter. So I just want to make that very clear. I think his name is Ivan. Shout out to him.
Shout out to Ivan. All right, guys. Yeah, so this is what we're talking about. We're getting that pullback. We didn't tap into 33 quite yet, but if this pullback is somewhat sustained or just might be a little bit of a breath before we do take that additional leg lower, but you can see, I would say I'm going to get my last out at 77s. There's no need for that right now. We'll head into 76. We did almost get to that mark, and if it continues to break down, who knows what, 75 may be in the works here today for SLV. Keep an eye on that. TQs are just continuously moving lower here, Sharif. I'm going to look at some of the big boys. We've gone over them. Tesla now down to 403. We'll pull up NVDA to see what it's up to now, down to 173. So from the open earlier today, we're down approximately 7 points. Not too good of a look. So mega cap tech definitely taking a slide today. There's Meta heading towards some key support levels. Neckline break. Watch out. You might see some more potential downside here in META. What's Goggles been up to?
What's it up to?
We got them to, is it tonight? It's tonight after the bell, right? Or tomorrow? Goggles. Okay, all right. We'll figure that out. I was hoping you can figure it.
Sorry, what's the question?
Google tonight after the bell,
yes,
right?
Sir.
Yes, sir. Okay. Again, another name that is definitely, I'm not going to say price to perfection because I love Google, and this was one of my
ran up big, though. It's ran up big.
It's ran up big, exactly. And sentiment is huge. We talked about that. Fundamentals are fantastic, but when you go on this monster run, this was one of my biggest trading mistakes of all time is letting this name go. But I do believe we're going to be able to get in at some prices in which we like. So Google, even if cloud comes in and beats, search continuously growing, a lot going for them here in GOOGL, Alphabet Group, that is. If you break down, sure enough, I think you might be able to get some good quality prices and allow it to continuously selling. Because look at this April, from those April lows, this is a mega cap name, Sharif. I don't think any other one is up 143% from the trough to the peak. So a big time move
I gotta before we go, guys, SUNE is absolutely ripping. As soon as it broke trend, right at that 115 area, we added, I took like quadruple the size of the initial one, and it is absolutely ripping up $1.27. It's still light on volume relative to price. It's $1.21. It's only done about 16 2/3. Be careful with this one. It's already shown you its propensity to turn back around and turn back around aggressively. Trade this one carefully, Adara.
We have a pop here in FNMA and FMCC as we do have comments from U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent at this hearing. He's saying that the spread of mortgages versus treasuries is the lowest in years, but more crucially for Freddie Mac, he did hint that there could eventually be the end of a conservatorship for Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. So that's FNMA, FMCC popping on these comments from U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, who's still at that congressional hearing. It's been on for 2 hours now. Back to you.
All right, let's do this here. Yeah, we're gonna take a small attempt, guys.
He's been a little spicy lately, eh?
Yeah, Bessent.
Have you seen some of the comments he's making? He was like more economics earlier in the administration. Now he's taking shots at Carney. He's taking shots at Gavin Newsom. You know, he's talking about bringing the knee pass to Davos for his meeting with Soros and all that kind of. He's been smack talking, I should say, lately. He's getting a little spicy.
Was our boy Alex Karp talking smack about Canada as well too?
What'd he say?
He's saying we're just too poor to not have buy Palantir or to use Palantir's technology. So, all right, let's see if this works, guys. We're short a little SMCI. I don't know how much room I'm willing to give this, to be honest with you, but I think this is just a ABCD style pattern. And if we can get that breakdown of this $32 mark, then I think we're going to be okay. What is my potential target here? There we go. We're slowly starting to slide. We'll take this on SMCI as it's slowly moving to exactly where we want it to. So 32.60 might be a potential target. Neckline break right there. You can see that we had the inability to breach to the top side. If we get that bamboozlement and we head back into this neck of the woods, I'll just get out and then look to maybe re-engage. We made an initial mistake on it, so we would be a little bit more ITM, but SMCI is tricky in my opinion. I used to trade it a couple times in the past and I was never really good at it, but we'll give this 2 attempts just to see if we can get this rocking and rolling, brother.
Sounds good, man. All right, off the top is SUNE 127 high. We have that. We have 26s. Okay, so we didn't get quite that high of the day, but it's fine. It's coming back down now, though. So average price 116, I'm out 115. Simple as that, okay? We're not gonna let it go against me. Now, 116 is the 10 EMA, so by definition, I'm giving it a little bit of room below that 10 EMA just to allow for price spikes. And here it comes. Here's 116. So it is coming back down now, bleeding its own blood, and that's what we talked about. This one does turn around in a hurry. We saw it in the price spike earlier with a topping tail candle on the 5 that manifested at, sorry, that's not the 5, that's the 1, pardon me. I'm charting the wrong way. Okay, so we'll have to wait for that one to load again. But anyway, anything below 115, I'm out. I'm looking for a hold it to 116. We're not quite getting that 116 dip yet, and here it is, so I'm out. And it's continuing to go down. So happy with this trade. Definitely got really positive on it relative because we were negative on it earlier, right? With this one, took a much larger position, put out all the resting orders in case we got a price spike up. I wouldn't be scrambling to get out shares, and it rewarded me. Let's see now what ZSL is doing. Remember, that 220 area was a very, very clear level of resistance. Are we now going to use 220 as support? Well, we are right now. Who knows what we're going to do later? Showing 21s right now. Here's selling coming in. Let's see if we drop down into 20. I'm not going to take this out unless it comes back into my entry, okay? But having said that, I'm going to be watching closely that 18, 19 penny level because that's, again, the 10 EMA on the 5. If that 20 penny flat top break former area of resistance gives up, I want to see if the 10 EMA on the 5 is going to be support. And if it does find support there and starts to curl back up, I'm going to do exactly what I did last time, which is to add into the hold of the 10 EMA. So let's watch here, see what ZSL has to offer us. It's coming back down now into 220. Did you see that VWAP bounce, man? I told you. On end phase, man, I should have taken that. I'm an idiot. I should have taken that, but I was focusing on other things. Clean VWAP bounce off the volume weighted average price on end phase, about $1 now off the top, and here comes 51. It's about to break through the 10 EMA on the 5, but I'll submit to you guys, there is a bit of a flat top here between 51.5 and 51.75, and we couldn't shake that level. And when you look at the implied balance high area, the closing prints on the 5, they all shadow that 51.75 area. Yes, I realize it's 52.93 high, but look how long we spent up there. 2 candles on the 5, and then you got the biggest red candle, I would say, on the day. Off that 52 breach. So certainly for me, it is a 51.70-ish, 51.50. area of resistance. If we get through that, I'm going to likely be a buyer here on end phase. And then continuing to watch here, 8. EGHT, as this one is still putting in lower highs, but I'm waiting for a trend line break, possibly maybe into that 2 mid-40s. That gets me back into the trade on EGHT. We'll have to pack our patience on that one. And then yes, ZSL is finding support here at the 20 penny area, Joseph Options. So I think it might be time to add.
All right, good stuff there, man. We got our eyes on the tape here on SMCI. I mean, we're just in a consolidative zone. We looked at the chart already. I think that we can break a little bit lower because we are starting to form that shelf. It just may take a couple attempts. I don't want to get carried away or anything along those lines, trying to short this thing in case it does want to rebound. But look at on the 5-minute time frame, right? Like we have this nice steady move to the downside. Now we're just forming this ABCD style pattern. And if we break the lower end of support, then I think that's when we can take that additional leg lower. So let's see, let's be patient. I don't want to give it too much room, like 20 cents literally, and I'm out at 92s if it does decide that it wants to go a little bit higher, because therefore I can get a better price, increase my risk to reward if the same pattern is displaying itself. So there it is. Oh, wow, it just tapped right into it. And this is what I'm talking about. It had to take a little bit more time. We're prepared to get out of it here at 92s. If I see anything on the tape, print that, then it's hasta la vista, baby, on this one. Now we're printing 92s on the ask. Yeah, it's unfortunate. You get a little bit of a sustained bounce. Let's hop out of SMCI as it didn't want to break down just yet. A little bit of Fugazi right here. Man, yeah, it's frustrating. So we'll take our first loss on the day trying to short SMCI as it's starting to get a little bit of a sustained bounce. Nothing small potatoes. We're still sitting in some SLV. End phase was good to us earlier in the day as well. So we'll just see if price is going to turn around. Maybe it just had to do an additional liquidity grab. This was an error on my behalf. I actually wanted to short it right here. I went long by accident, and then sure enough, we get out. But yeah, see, boom, you break through the resistance zone. It's like, hey, we need to absorb some more. People who have tight stops like myself, let's get them involved. But once we start to curl over once again, then I'm going to re-engage, and then hopefully we can get that momentum back to the downside, 10%, 11%. Like in a name that has like 6.7% margins and increasing cost, I don't know, this thing's up 10%. AMD's number's not absolutely horrible either. It's down 13%. So a little bit of a mix up there. But back down to 87s is SMCI. We'll head back over to silver SLV and see what we got going on. Okay, so it's going to go higher. So we may just have to accept the fact that it may not be in play, and that pattern that we are looking for may not work out. We'll take a look at the higher time frames as well. The 15-minute, what are you telling us? We do have the pre-market gap, so if you were trading this in the blue ocean, you get that gap up from 31 to approximately $33, and then maybe you're going to get a little bit of a breakdown here. So I'm going to be more patient on SMCI. We're still holding this SLV for that $76 mark, and then we'll get all out of that one there.
All right, there's a new small cap gapper weaseling onto the scene. I'm just going to have to load it up because okay, well, perfect. They loaded up over here. LIMN, thank you very much, Zen. I can't see the full name. Show me. Zen Zombie, thank you very much, Zen Zombie, for the $10 or $2, pardon me, super chat there. Oh, it's going to freeze. Okay, we'll let it freeze, and then we'll look at it over here. Yeah, just want to show this one quick SSino. We're just going to show, there it is. LIMN, breakout above the double top that we put in the aftermarket yesterday. That is my signal right there. That means the buyers, overwhelming sellers, especially the bag holders. That breakout level is 155, 156, and here it comes, 160. And look at the volume that it broke out on, 1.4 million shares on that 5-minute candle. This current candle has about 600,000. We haven't closed yet. Look for a hold, I would say, of 150, right? I wouldn't say go as aggressive as 155. You get in maybe 160, mid 160s. You're going to have to risk a little bit here. 183 high. This thing is up 54%, having done 31.6 million shares of volume in the penny. It's a 1 penny spread at the moment. So keep your eye on that one. LIMN. We're going to Adara for happening now, and then Neil's going to have his lesson of the day.
Let's take a look here at this S&P 500. This is definitely to the downside, but bouncing just above yesterday's low of day of support. So interesting technical levels here for that S&P 500. Once again, the market being ruled by earnings with AMD, even though the report seemed solid on its face, trading lower here. Investors not liking this report. There is one report here doing quite well. That's Eli Lilly, still to the upside. And to be clear, that's not the only name that's trading higher off earnings. SMCI, at least initially, doing quite well, though it's been rather range-bound as of late. and Enphase. Similarly range bound to SMCI, but this one was up more than 30%, I believe, at its highs. In the meantime, on the weaker side of things, we do have to talk about Bitcoin because once again here, these crypto names trading lower, Coinbase and MSTR, both near lows of day. And it's worth noting we actually have some high-profile crypto-adjacent earnings tomorrow after the bell. MSTR and CLSK both reporting. I also want to mention here, tons more earnings tonight. You can catch those with myself, Neil, Sean, Brendan. Should be a very exciting action-packed evening with tons of reports, including Google, GOOGL, Alphabet here, revenue estimate just under $95 billion. They did beat across the board for their last report, with sales rising by 16% year over year and growing in all of its reporting segments. So Google set up here for a good report. You can check out this infographic and a whole bunch of others on the companies that are reporting tonight throughout the day on X at TTV Research. But you won't have to wait for anything if you want Neil's lesson of the day, because Neil's here. He has a lesson. I wonder what it is. Let's find out.
I wonder what it is too. My lesson right now is we should probably get mac and cheese every single day for lunch, because I think not only look, if you're in the right mindset as a trader and you feel good, like you're gonna probably make better decisions, and you can't make quality decisions if you're hangry. Mac and cheese is very filling. It's a low probability that you're gonna mess it up because it's easy. And you know the thing about trading is not easy. There is some built-in. We're at a prop floor, so we're trading firm capital here. Everyone you see on the show trades firm capital, and there's a certain process to that, which gives you some advantages, which you might see in traders. There's a concept called external and internal discipline. Right? So an example of internal discipline would be me managing my own emotions, me managing my own trade. External discipline would be the system shutting me down, or a risk manager telling you to get out of something, or reducing your buying power because you do something silly. And when you're at a prop desk, you have the advantage of external discipline, which is going to force you in a lot of ways to be a more responsible trader. And if you've only ever done that, it's a bit of an advantage. There's another advantage I want to talk about, and I have to give credit to all of you guys. Most of you guys watching, I'm assuming, are retail trading when you're trading. So I'm gonna just blanket this with everybody, and if it's not everybody, my bad. But the majority of you are probably retail traders. And I'm gonna give you a slow clap for something that we don't have to deal with. See, if you're on a prop desk, you get paid effectively. You run settlements once a month, which is pretty standard in the industry, 1 month in arrears. So not only do you know, over a certain period of time, you have to judge yourself over a month. On top of that, because it's a month in arrears, like we would get our December settlement at the end of January. So you know what you're going to get paid, or for some traders out there, maybe you're not going to get paid for December while you are trading that month of January. And so you can therefore control your risk and what you're doing based on that check which is coming. Like it's kind of in the bank. And that gives you just another layer of that discipline or awareness to have to judge yourself on, right? Like if you're trying to preserve that capital, or if you're using that to lever up, like you know how much you can risk. Now, it's not to say that a retail trader doesn't have that. You can, but what you have to do is you need to be meticulous in terms of understanding your P&L curve, your profit and loss, your performance over whatever time period matters to you. Maybe it's one every 2 weeks. You got to be able to judge how you're doing. What are my biggest winners and gainers over that time period? Because what will happen is if you get into a hot streak, let's just say, it's very important that A, you're able to profit from that, and B, you're able to keep that profit, and C, going forward, you're risking relative to that. And if you don't have that monthly metric like prop traders do, then you've got to be diligent in your record keeping and your realization of where you have to stand in your game. And that's a lot of work. People talk about having a journal and all that. Well, it's easier for a prop trader because we just get settlements every single month. And like I go and I log in and I can see, oh, I was 3 days red last month and 18 days green, and my worst day was this relative to my best day. It's all right there for me. I don't have to do any record keeping. I just log into something to be able to see it. And when you don't have that benefit, you guys have to be so much more disciplined. So shout out to you, everyone that is having that level of discipline. But just understand it does become relatively necessary, especially in heightened times of volatility. And I've said this, and I'll just sort of continue to say this again, and I'll end the lesson right here because this is really delicious stuff, and I want to go back to eating it. I have a new phrase that I'm going to say. Sean likes traders got to trade. And if I'm going to say something that's more me, traders got to get paid. Traders get paid. Traders get paid. I'm going to assume there's some people that like this for fun because it's a fun job, right? You eat what you kill, the enjoyment and the excitement of the market, but really like you're punching keys so that you can make money. And ultimately, because that's what matters, I just want to tell you that there's no shortcuts to it, right? So as a trader, I always look at the most important metric. So if you're having an up day today or a down day today, you get information one way or the other. There's 20 trading days in a month, and one of the things that I want to leave with you that you should look at is look at your biggest losing trading day and your biggest winning trading day. A goal for a trader, in my opinion, should be, okay, there's my big day. There's a great up day when I look at my month. How many, if I have 4 or 5 negative days or 3 negative days, how many negative days on average, my average negative day, how many of those do I have to add up to get to the biggest day? I want to be counting that. And if you're counting that, regardless of the outcome, that's a good thing. Because what it means is when you're good, you're winning more than, we have a bigger win than your losses. If you're counting in the other direction, if you have a situation where you're looking at your prior month or prior quarter and you're looking at your big loss days and you're asking, how many good days do I have to add up to count up to make up for that loss? Stop everything and reevaluate what you're doing. Because if that's what you have to consider, like if a good up day for you is $100, let's just say, but your month is littered with $500 down days, then stop what you're doing and reassess. Because that's an untenable situation. If you're the reverse and a good up day for you is $500 and you're looking at your average loss day and it's only $100 and you don't have any losing days over 500, that's a trader that needs to start leveraging up. But the biggest mistake I see is traders who they might have strategies that are working for them. They could be winning 7 days out of 10, but their losing days are exponentially or 3, 4, 5x the winning days, and they haven't corrected that issue. If you lever up while you still have that issue, what'll happen is if you have some kind of a black swan or extra big bad day, it's game over. And if you're here to get paid, you can't survive game over. You can't survive digging too big of a hole that it takes you months to get out of, a lot of traders. So make sure you preserve that capital. Everyone, it's a down market, so sometimes you got to be able to short, but the other thing is you've got to get profitable. So your job as a trader is, yeah, you got to make trades, but make sure those trades are actually paying you. That's what it's all about. And I've started, I can tell you, this mac and cheese and jerk chicken. The jerk chicken is not really, I can barely taste the jerk flavor, but it's still pretty good. It's thigh, so it's dark meat. And the mac and cheese is legit. So I'm a happy camper. I hope you guys are too. Peace.
Just like ducks on us. I love it. I love that lesson. I think I agree with everything he said there, but I really want to stress the profitability part of it. Absolutely. I think that is very sound because a lot of us get caught up in the great days that we have, and then you come and you look at your worst days and they kind of erase everything that you worked hard for. So unless you have that discipline where you can kind of keep your winners bigger than your losers, you're just, you're treading water, so to speak. You're not getting ahead.
Much easier said than done, but that's the narrative of the game.
But he's bang on, no question about it.
Yeah, but that's the narrative, man. Again, something I think every trader. If you say you haven't struggled with that, then I don't know if you've actually been trading. Yeah, exactly. So I mean, not for sure, not easy. Yeah, exactly. It's not. Says Neil. It's not. But see, that's the narrative, right? And to add to Neil's point, it's just you have to find that where it's hey, if your average day is, say, what he was saying, $100, if you want to stay profitable, you want to keep that average loss of around half of that, $50. So you need to know when to call it quits. I think is equally important. There goes silver. I think I'm going to get out my last little bit here, just because. I'm going to pull it up here. There's a big-time defense on SMCI at that 32.66 mark. We keep bouncing off of it, and we don't want to seem to break down. There is a little bit of a support system there. We'll continuously hold it. We did get about 30 cents ITM on that, but let's get all out of this silver, because when it rebounds aggressively. So a nice little trade on SLV. We're not going to complain about it. We didn't get that $75 mark that we were looking for, but now we're involved in some SMCI. Did I just get out? Okay, yeah, so we're all out of silver there, guys. Let's take a look. We'll head over to SMCI. This is going to be our additional short, and we told you about the re-engage, right? Let's zoom in here, because we have a break even, we have a loss, and then we currently have a trade that's ITM. If we can break 32.60, then I think we can get to rocking and rolling on this name. So we'll be patient. If it comes back to my break even, guess what? We'll just hop out, and it looks like it's going to bounce right now. You dirty dog doesn't want to break, as the market is finding somewhat of a rebound. Yeah, this is a dog's breakfast right now, Shreve. Yeah, and frustrating. We don't got time for that. It's been a half decent day for us, so we'll hop out. We'll hop out as soon as it comes back to my entry point. If we don't break down here, then it might do an additional fake out, and that's okay. We're gonna look for something else. We'll take it off our chart. Even though we had one mistake on it, this is gonna be our second attempt, one loss, one break even. So be it. We'll find something else to trade, as Uber looks like it wants to break down, or maybe the tide has changed in today's session, and you want to find a potential long. Okay, so we'll keep our eyes out on that. We're gonna get out of that. We're going to try not to get frustrated and get too all up in our head, just because we didn't want to break that 32.60 level here in SMCI.
All right, I'm back into SUNE. We're in at a little bit below the $0.25, and here it comes against me, but we've taken out a lot already into that high of the day, into 132. I've got another beak wetter at 135. What I'm looking to see, does this whole trend? Just opened up a new candle, so now prior bar low is 123, into 126 it goes. Okay, so looking to see, does it break prior bar low? Well, into 27 it goes, so still holding trend. 10 EMA on the 5 is 119. Where's my entry? 124. Here is 129 again. Let's see if this can take out high of dates. 132 high on the dot, with that topping till kind of inverse hammer candle that closed at 1210. So I'm keeping my eye on this one, trying to decide whether I want to get more in. Well, now that we've established prior bar low at 123, I think I'm just going to do that. Because look, you know, sometimes obviously breaches prior bar low because these things are kind of wild, and that's kind of their nature. We're going to add into the position, and here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and put in the stop right now for that. Yep. And then let me just cancel the other stop so I don't have any mishaps. There it is, a SUNE, right? Good. Cancel. So let's see if this one can kind of weasel its way up. Now that changes my cost basis from 124 into 125. There's 30. Let's post over here. Not immediately crossing 30. There it goes into 31. Bless you, Joe. And then now I'm looking for 33s and looking for 35s. We haven't taken out prior bar high because that is the high of the day, but we have a higher low on the current bar. Into 131 again we go. There's a seller here, clearly a hidden seller. Just flashed 32s, 33, 35. It didn't cross. I didn't get the print at 35, but I did see 35s. There it goes again. Let's post now into 38s. Let's see if we can kind of ride this trend. It's up 68%. The pickings are slim in the world of small cap gappers today, so we're really going to try to focus on the ones that are moving, keeping an eye on this one. I don't want it to go against me. Now my cost basis is fundamentally changed, right? Because I added into the high. I'm not going to change my move. My move is prior bar low and I'm out, and that's 123. So we're going to continue to watch here as it zigs and zags at that 130 level. Packing the patience. I got into a new trade, by the way, RKLZ. It seems to be finding some support here at the 10 EMA. I'm not giving it room at all. I'm 2 pennies in the money, nothing to write home about. But if it loses trend, I'm out. And that means if it loses that 370 area, which is, I think, about 3 or 4 pennies below the 10 EMA and the 5, I'm not even going to entertain this one, but we're looking for a print. I think I'm waiting here. It just has to cross at 78. RKLZ, an inverse ETF of Rocket Labs, of course. Trade this carefully. It does have a good amount of volume on the day, about 11 million shares on a $3 name. For an ETF, not so bad. Not the greatest though. Showing 78s right now, still no prints, still no prints, still no prints. Waiting for that 135 continuation on SUNE as well. Sorry guys, going back and forth between these two, trying to keep my eye on both and trying to ride trend here on these bad boys. There's now a seller at 130 on SUNE for whatever reason, so we'll just wet the beak there, see if we can kind of ride trend. Chris, Ty, Kavanaugh, Sharif, do you think ELPW is about to start a new uptrend? Let's have a quick look. Just give me a sec to resolve some of these trades. Let me put EPLW. I'm going to take off ZCMD, so EP. This is a holdover, I'm assuming, from yesterday, EPLW. Oops, typed it wrong. ELPW, my mistake, ELPW. Or just let it load, I guess, because it's, I don't like the look of this one's jib at all, man, at all. It is an unbroken lower high trend, brother. I'm sorry to kind of be the bearer of bad news. It's gonna have to break trend, not only just break this very, very obvious lower high trend, but it's going to have to weasel above that 176, 177 area. That's the volume weighted average price. It's also kind of finding support at that resistance, I should say, relative to that pre-market high. It's up 72%, man. It could recover to VWAP, so I don't know what your cost basis is. A lot of the times, you know, they do catch a bit of a bounce, and here it is, off 56, could be making its way to 76. Let me know what your cost basis is, brother, but I'd be looking first and foremost for a decided break of this obvious lower high trend line, and then I'd be looking to see how it acts around that white line, which is the volume weighted average price, currently showing 76, so just a little bit above that volume weighted average price. Shout out to Chris. For Alt J, Sharif, reply to my super chat. LOL, sorry, brother. Let me go to top chat, fan funding. Let me just look. Okay, what do you think of MU at these levels? Thank you, brother, for reminding me about that. Let's take a quick look at Micron. Where's Micron? I'm scared to look. Oh, no. It's about 0.15 from going SSR. Why am I laughing? That's not funny. I'm flattening out here on SUNE because I just need to be able to focus. Well, look, man, Micron's up 1.5% on the year. Not the year, obviously, but lately. It's still 32.25% on the year. That's kind of looking weak relative to SanDisk, which is up 157%. But this is a look of Micron right now, Joey, on the daily. Okay, it's going to freeze. I'm sorry. Yo, I'm good. Into the 20 we go. So you can see very clearly an area of resistance at 450. Couldn't shake the sellers, or yeah, we couldn't shake the sellers, or we ran out of buyers at 450, obviously pulling into the 20. So look, there is really very few areas where you can see obvious support and resistance and say, hey, this is a great buy area. Look, every time we dip in here, we find support because it's been a rocket ship. It's been up and to the right to no end. So what I do in those cases, I look to the moving averages. And right now we're at the 20. We've already lost that $400 psychological area of support. My only comment about that $400 area would be, let's see if it closes below 400 for 3 trading days. There's this rule, right? John J. Murphy, probably others use it as well. The 3% rule or the 3-period rule. So whatever time frame you're charting, if it's the weekly, the monthly, the daily, you're looking for 3 candles, 3 periods to close below that 400. And then you can kind of use it as a confirmed break. Others will use a 3% rule. So if you lose that level, 400 that is, by more than 3%, they consider it a clean break. Your guess is, your not guess, but your strategy could be a little bit different than mine. What I do see though is a possible flat top shelf at 350. Now we range there essentially from the 6th of January to when we took it decidedly on the 16th. So not 10 trading days, but 10 calendar days of resistance at 350. We're at 377.75 right now. 350 could be a big buy area. You could also be looking at the 50 exponential, which is a little bit below that at around 330, 325. But when you have like such a parabolic move like Micron, you're likely to give some back. The only saving grace, I think, that Micron may have, and we may see this in the next couple of weeks or so, is just the insane demand that there is for RAM. And we're not seeing that slow down. I don't care what everybody says about the unwinding of the AI trade. We've heard from Taiwan Semi. We've heard from all the big players about the orders that they've got, the demand that they've got, and we've heard comments as well from some of the hyperscalers who were reporting, SMCI, reporting yesterday that their margins compressed almost half of what they used to be last year because of the cost in RAM. So we know that the RAM manufacturers and suppliers are absolutely printing up storms because they keep increasing prices and keep increasing those margins. So you could have a recovery on Micron. I would say, look at the fundamentals that I just explained and try to jive them with the technicals. 350 I like. And then I would also be looking for a retracement above 400 within 3 periods. That's my suggestion to you, Joe.
Fair enough, man. Just going through some of my old. I'm just going through January, and I'm going with the couple days that we have been trading in February, and just going through some of the old systems there. So I removed SMCI off of my side chart, not getting the breakdown that we were looking for. That's okay, man. We want things that cooperate and work for us. If not, I think that's just a little bit of a coping mech, right? Like, it's like, hey, you don't want to continuously try to force and what do we call milk a stone or beat a dead horse. You're not going to get anything from it. So stick with your systems. I took my 3 attempts, one of them being a slight error, 2 break-evens, 1 loss. See you later, right? Like we were expecting a little bit of a breakdown there. We didn't get it. We weren't fortunate enough to do so. So we'll look for another opportunity. So let's keep rocking and rolling. It's been a pretty good one so far. We can run through our trades and see what we got going on. ENPH, N-phase was cooking up for us earlier in the day. And that's the thing, right? It's just like trying to make trading life a little bit easier, going with the flow. Strong opening drive. This thing was up 23% at some point. Did we have the best entry? Absolutely not. But we did have the ability to hold it. We piece them out, and then sure enough, we do get a trailing stop on that front. SLV, you guys seen us punch out of that one there not too long ago. Took a couple attempts, 1 break even, and sure enough, that short we got to rock and roll for us. And then what is SMCI? Dare I look at it? Yeah, it doesn't really matter, man. No hard feelings whatsoever around this neck of the woods. Yeah, and see, there you go. You get that breakdown. Didn't hold on to it. Maybe I was just micromanaging my super microcomputer a little bit here, and then sure enough, now you're starting to head to that 32.51 mark. But yeah, it is what it is, man. We're not going to complain about it whatsoever as you're starting to break down a little bit there in SMCI. With that being said, a nice break up there in N-phase, right? A nice bounce off of the volume-weighted average price. We have Uber starting to form a triple top on the 5-minute at that $72 mark. Is this neckline going to break? Let's head over to the 1-minute time frame and get a little bit more detail. This is tough, man. You want to definitely get in at the top end of the range. Unless the momentum really starts to pick up, that's when you'd want to sell the lower end. But yeah, just heading back to SMCI, we did what we did. We re-engaged. We just weren't fortunate enough to participate in this breakdown as we did micromanage that one a little bit. Worried about giving some back instead of just focusing on the trade itself. So you pay the price, right? It breaks down. You get the trade that you're looking for. $32 I think could be in the works there for SMCI, but we won't be partaking in that one. So yeah, let's run through a couple more names. Oh, what we haven't done today. What? Let's do it. You know what time it is, Sharif.
I know. The sector.
It is.
Oh, I got it wrong yesterday. You were going to get me
today,
twice
man,
in a row,
bro. You're getting that one wrong twice in a row. That's for sure. Let's pull it up here, guys, and see what we got going on for the week. Materials was in 2nd or 3rd place yesterday.
Okay.
All right, we're in 1st place today, 1.63%. Consumer staples sitting in that show place. All right, win place show for all my pony and dog racers out there, bettors out there. Only Florida, I think you can get the dog races and stuff like that. That would be pretty cool. Energy sector, 1.5%. Then you head over to the consumer discretionary, you're down 0.4. Consumer services, you're down 0.4 as well too. And tech sector, down 3.25. Down 3.25, my boy. The Dow Jones is the only one holding up here by a thread, just flat on the day. SPY down 0.5%. XLF.
Get it, Joey.
Excuse me. XLF definitely helping the SPY hold up. The Russ.
I found out the
average price of Sailor? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I seen it.
You saw that?
Yeah, it was like 76. Right, you got 76 there?
76.05.
Yeah, 76. What are we at right now?
Is someone going to be calling?
No, he said even if it goes to 0, they're not going to be calling.
Is it all equity?
I have no idea, man.
The thing
is, though, I forget which individual was talking about it. He's like, hey, when you have something like this going on, and what Michael Saylor is explaining to you is just like issuing credit with preferables and all this and all that, a lingo I have no idea what he's talking about, all the financial gibberish. short the dog, right? You know what I mean? Especially like long Bitcoin, short Sailor, and I think that's been the narrative, man. I didn't understand that. He would go on Squawk or whatever it was on CNBC, and he would just be talking about issuing credit, preferables this, we can never be margin called. It's like, it's just like, oh, okay, dude. I think you've complicated a system where it's just like essentially you're buying Bitcoin, which I don't find is overly complex, into something where you're trying to be a digital credit issuer.
Well, he's trying to issue like, he's trying to give you a coupon in the way that you get a coupon on bonds, like a yield.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's
Bitcoin
not
yield.
well, that's the thing,
Right.
So he's saying that the yield is going to just come from capital appreciation.
And also with the earnings report, right? So it's like, dude, it's like, it's essentially a bunch of financial gibberish at the end. I heard multiple people say this. But also his earnings report and his earnings, whatever, the 10K or whatever they file, is a projection of Bitcoin hitting $150,000. Right? So like what happens when you've projected that your stock's already down 75%, probably closer to 80% off of the previous highs. So what does that mean now, considering you're at half of that value currently sitting at, right?
Absolutely. How are you paying those coupons?
How are you paying those coupons?
Yeah, I'll find out. I want to see exactly how it's structured. So keep going, and I'm gonna find out exactly.
Absolutely. There goes the Nasdaq guys putting in a new LOD, probably being led by NVDA. It's all right, man. We're not going to worry about it whatsoever. We'll see what everyone else thinks about Michael Saylor and company there. MST is a Ponzi on a Ponzi. Sounds like it, man. Sounds like it. Payco OR, don't think you can ever hide from me. I know who you are. Oh, there goes SMCI. Let's get this thing off of our chart before we really... oh, man, why didn't we hold on to that bad boy? But it is what it is, guys. We're not going to complain about it whatsoever. There's going to be multiple opportunities throughout today's session, and we'll keep our eyes on it. I was thinking about a potential long, but I don't know if we want to try and catch this falling knife. Let's pull up the Nasdaq. We haven't even looked at this from a daily. Guys, let's head over to the daily and see what we got going on. Same narrative, right? Same narrative. You're heading towards those key support levels. You have that shelf starting to be formed. The momentum's really starting to pick up towards the downside. Be cautious of what we got going on. I forget who was talking about swing trades. Who's like, hey, I want to try to find a swing. If it's to the downside, I can agree. Why? Because you're going with the flow. If you're trying to find and catch this falling knife, the market might be in a selling phase right now, and I think that's been the narrative over the past couple of sessions.
Should we explain this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so here's how he's paying the coupon, okay? First of all, he's got software revenue from legacy media, from his legacy software business, and apparently he's directing those revenues to pay the coupon. Moreover, there's a lot of cheap convertible debt that he's been able to raise. Many of the company's loans are convertible notes and at very low or even zero interest rate, so basically a 0% yielding coupon. And a lot of the lenders were okay to accept that because they wanted to be able to convert their debt, which is in this case basically the loan that they gave for shares if capital appreciation was to move up on those shares. So because the lenders are willing to accept lower payments in exchange for the option to flip their debt into MSTR stock, the price skyrockets. Last one, the equity flywheel. Where have we heard that before? The company frequently sells new shares, of its own stocks at a premium to raise cash reserves, even including a $1.44 billion buffer created back in late 25, specifically to pay dividends and coupons without ever needing to sell their Bitcoin. That to me is, it's a little bit, I don't like it, but.
See, but that's the thing, and that's kind of what I'm getting at.
A lot of mathematical.
If you have to make it that complicated, what does that really say? Like, if you need to make it that complex, what does that say in your opinion? I don't know. I don't know how I feel.
Well, I think a lot of these things are complex. It's just, the fact that people are willing to accept or to not get paid a premium. Like, think about yields, right?
Yeah.
Why does the longer dated bond, like the 30-year, pay a higher coupon than the 10-year? Because you're taking duration risk.
Yeah, you're
right.
Exactly.
You're locked in for 30 years.
You're right, 100%.
So, in other words, right, the longer you take on risk, you should be rewarded for it with higher yield. You're not getting anything here. Right? You're not getting any yield. All you're getting is the promise that MSTR stock could be higher, and it gives you the opportunity, kind of like an option contract
essentially
to
using
convert
it as a leverage, using it as a leverage product, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. What the lender here, basically their upside when it's paying 0% is the promise of some future date MSTR stock is not going to be where it was, and it's going to be higher because of the accretion in Bitcoin, and you're going to be able to kind of realize what you didn't get in the coupon through capital appreciation. That's the bet.
Okay. I mean, damn.
All right, the long man, or all right, MSTR preferred shareholders and debt holders own the entire capital stack at around $30,000 to $35,000. Common shareholders have zero equity left at that point. Explain a little bit more, brother. You don't have to super chat again, but just kind of explain your comment there.
Well, zero equity because base now you're south of his average price. Would it not be?
It'll be half, less than half. He's saying at 30 to 35,000.
Well, no, he's saying that. So what he said was the preferred shareholders and debt holders own the entire capital stack at 30 to 35K. Common shareholders have zero equity left. The common shareholders
preferred,
because
yeah,
exactly. The common would be because of the fact that it is now south of the average price.
Got it.
I believe, right? Which I think would make a little bit of sense. Again.
All right, guys. When it comes to the current trade right now, RKLZ continuing to trend up. Really good look over here. Into 387, that's the high. We've got 75s on. It's a much slower mover. This is an inverse ETF of Rocket Labs, about 2 times. It's up 30%. I'm looking for a move possibly into 4. Other than that, I really don't like anything at the moment. I'm continuing to watch Enphase, but I have a bias about that one that I don't like it long until it clears that 5150. It's currently at 51, so let's see how it does. Box L is also one that I've been watching essentially since the beginning of the morning. And it's starting to break trend a little bit, but you know, I've seen this story before, and then it lures you in, and then it drops right back down. So I'm going to continue to wait here on BOXL. Oh boy. And see whether or not it decidedly breaks trend. Also, I'm keeping an eye on 8 EGHT. For a move back above, I want to say 250. It's currently 240. Looking for a move there that could entertain. I could entertain a long there. SUNE as well is at the volume weighted average price right at 112. See what this one has to offer. Does it find support at the volume weighted average price, or what the situation is going to be? But right now it's hanging on to the volume weighted average price, neither dropping nor moving up. So those are the ones that I'm looking at. I'm also keeping an eye here on ZSL, but it's become a lot more consolidative. Let's see if it can kind of get above that 2.25 and stay above at 2.25, because that is right around that closing print. So it looks like break even on the day is 223, and that's where it's been hovering for a while. So that does probably pose some sort of an issue as we try to go green on the day. So I'm sorry, guys, about the charts today. I don't know what the hell is going on with this thing. My goodness. All right, let's flip back to the 5. Maybe you can update now. No. Yeah. All right, Joe, what do you got?
Yeah, I was just talking with South Jersey Jack. He's saying, just don't trade the trade, man. And that's where I'm sitting at. Like, we had a couple good opportunities. There could be more here with the breakdown potentially in Enphase as the market is also heading a little bit lower. You're heading towards a 1-minute neckline here on SLV. If that cracks, you might see a little bit more downside down to that $76 mark. We did stop up out here, which is totally fine. I was thinking about getting in at the top end of the range here on Enphase, and then maybe we can get that support level to break right at around the volume weighted average price. You can see the same thing, neckline being broken on Uber. So there's a lot going on. I haven't even looked really at AMD today. Let's see what AMD is up to. And see, yeah, I mean, continuously moving lower, guys. We can head over to the daily and see from that perspective as you're breaking through some key support levels on the daily, and you're right at them at that $200 mark. This gap is probably going to get filled down to 170, but over time, right? I'm not saying it's going to happen in a week span or anything along those lines. Over time, you'll get somewhat of a bounce, and then maybe you get that move a little bit lower, or you find some support right around 186 on AMD. Take a look at its daddy, we're going to call it here, NVDA. I don't know about that's a little bit excessive, but here it is, 172, a breakdown from that $212 mark. Hey, it is what it is, guys. It is some downward momentum in the overall market. But heading back over to Uber, we've been taking a look at that one. Oh yeah, end phase is really starting to break down there. Oh, there's a good opportunity. Double top on the 1 minute. If you got in there at 51, that would have been prime time Deion Sanders. BTC broke that neckline too, right? Yeah, it's heading towards there. It has broken, that uptrend broke as well too. As the Nasdaq continues to slide, what is the SPY up to? Maybe the staples is going to be a little bit stronger there, guys. The SPY down to 682 and continuing to move lower. I think this is going to be a really tough day. You're going to want to wait until the latter half of the session to potentially catch this falling knife and you get somewhat of a rebound like in yesterday's session. So keep an eye out on that and just be extremely, extremely patient. Go with the flow, and the flow is most definitely to the downside right now. Phase finding a nice little bounce at VWAP once again. Now, $15 super chat, Sharif. Ooh. Just an observation. Everyone's tone has been more somber than usual on the show. Real talk. Are you guys feeling the fear of the market like I am? The bubble pop fear is feeling really real. I don't feel like we've been have you been somber?
We're talking about certain areas getting disrupted.
Yeah,
I think the SaaS area, but I'm going to continue to say what I've been saying, and I'm not going to change. I'm not the type of person that wakes up on with a different vibe. I'm going to continue to buy good companies at good levels. I'm not going to change my opinion unless something fundamentally changes in the market, and I don't think it has. I like every stock that I own. I'm not necessarily in the money on every stock that I own, but I like them, and I like them at key levels, and I'm still bullish on everything that I'm invested in. So I'm not changing my opinion on anything.
No, like in my long-term holdings, we did do a little bit of shuffling, but again, it's a learning process as well too. We made some mistakes, but I said this earlier in the morning. This is just the cyclical nature of the beast, right? Like, so this time I'm not going to be hitting panic mode in anything. I trimmed my Bitcoin a while ago when it really started to sell. I rotated into some other names, which isn't horrible whatsoever. So I'm willing to sit through this because I know a year or two down the road, probably even a little bit less, we're going to probably be putting in new all-time highs. You have to take into consideration, we have to analyze this stuff day by day, right? So if the market is selling, we all have, the majority of us have our long-term accounts. We have to look at it as it is. And the market is selling right now, and it's kind of going through that distribution phase if you've read Wyckoff's theory, right? You have the accumulation, you have that consolidation, and then now we're starting to distribute to the lower end. And that's totally fine because guess what? For every seller, there's an individual, and it's probably the market makers who are continuously buying at these lower and lower prices. So that's how I'm looking at it. And then eventually, that's why a lot of these big names, the fundamentals are still there. And I think it's not that I think, it's designed it's designed to be successful, essentially, if you go back in history and look over time. So just be patient. It sucks right now, but I think in the long run, you'll be okay.
Well said, well said. All right, guys, we're continuing to make higher highs on RKLZ. We just went the beak there at 89, now looking for a 94 print. Very, very steady state up. Again, this is an inverse leveraged ETF for Rocket Lab. There's another high a day into 90. Fantastic look on this one. Going to continue to ride it up 31%. Shout out to John. 600 bounce on the Qs. I was just looking at the Qs, brother, but my charts are just acting up insane. So I can't even load to see where it's at. Looks like it's bleeding here into 600, 697, it looked 88. So it does look like it's on the way to 600. I'm talking about the Qs, of course, down 2.5%. The IWM also getting clipped 2% in Redville. The Dow is the only one that's positive, I'm assuming because of Apple, but Apple's off the highs as well, up 0.08% for DIA, and then the SPY is down 1% as well. So a bit of a tough look. I'm not really going to be interested in trading the Qs at all. We're going to keep an eye here on RKLZ. I'm also looking at EGHT. So this one has been super consolidated for a while, and now it is slowly, very, very slowly putting in higher lows and kind of putting in that rounding effect, that rounded bottom. So here's what I'm going to do. I perceive there's a flat bottom at around 235. We're showing 242, 243. So I'm going to get in here, and if it loses 235, I'm out. So let's go ahead and throw that in there, and we'll give this one a little bit of room to kind of do its thing. Where do we get there? There we go, into 44s. Let's go ahead and post now into the area high, and then I'm going to put a couple of beak wetters north of 50 as well. So EGHT still up 46 and a third percent, but as I look at the IWM, it makes sense why we don't have too many small cap gappers making their way onto the scene today. PW is the biggest gapper above $1 on the day, up 74%, and it's below where it opened up at. So that just gives you the idea that the pickings are super slim. So keep that in mind when you're sizing in your positions and you know how aggressively you're looking to take some of these, long or short. Well, we'll find out in about 20 minutes or so about the shorts on the small cap gappers. I forgot to mention this to you guys. Again, we mentioned it at the top of the show. Luis Barbado is going to be on at 1 o'clock. And if you've been watching the show for a while, you know he's a small cap trader, small cap gapper trader from our Barcelona office. He's nice enough to come on. He's going to come on once a week, Wednesdays at 1 o'clock. And his focus is going to be shorting these small cap gappers. Now, you guys have been watching me taking these things long now for over a year, but I don't think I've ever taken any of them short. And he, most of the time, because, you know, they're breaking to the high side, but he's going to give us kind of his playbook and how he looks at things for the shorts. So if you're more short inclined or you want to kind of diversify your trading game to be able to go both ways, make sure to catch that with us. He's going to be on in about 18 minutes or so. Thank you, Adam. Adam, I don't know what PLN is, man. 50 PLN? I got to find out. My curiosity's getting the better of me over here. PLN currency, just before we kind of look at that currency. There we go. What is that? Polish. I don't even know how to say that. How do you even say that, man? The zloty? How do you say that? Does anybody know how to say the Polish currency? Grozy? I think it's grozy. All right, Adam, thank you for the 50. Could you please take a look at NBIS and provide some technical analysis? Find out what NBIS is up to. Hopefully the charts hold out over here, NBIS. All right, what's Nebius up to? So negative on the day, down 12.5%. I'm looking for just any entries in today's blotter. Nothing from today, nothing from yesterday. Looking on the second as well. They just announced full year. What is this? They announced fourth quarter full year results conference call. Okay, that was from the second. Let's zoom out here and get a better look at Nebius. Okay, so we're coming into a very critical area of technical resistance. I want to say, or support, excuse me. It's that I want to say that 80 to about 75. So a couple of things. First and foremost, the 200 simple moving average at 75, the 200 exponential at 79. So you definitely look like you're on the way to the 200. However, I don't like this pattern over here. The lower high is unbroken. You could have been maybe fooled because this looked like an area high as well at that 103, 104 area, ends up breaking into 110 and then drops, actually about to lose that $75 area. 78.79 is the current price. I do like this off the 200 bounce, but I'd be worried for a flat bottom break because it's preceded lower high, lower high, lower high. All the while, it's that 80 to 75 flat bottom as support. So this could be a flat bottom break candidate. If it does dip into that flat bottom, if it does lose 75, I'd be looking at 55 to 60. You got a lot of interactions with that level, 50 to 60, I should say. You had 50 support back February 2024. You had 55 level resistance. June 2025, again in late June, early July. Again, I want to say late July. And then you got, it looks like on earnings there, you got a breakout above that 55 in early August. And then we kind of went back, held 65, and then you got more continuation there. So number one, I'd be looking for the 200 to hold up, which is around 75. If it loses 75, I'd be looking certainly at that 55 area. That's kind of my look on Nebi. It's not one that I really follow all that much, but it's still a lot closer. Let's actually do a weekly chart on this to see exactly what the situation is here. Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Yeah, well, we're gonna have to wait on that one. I do apologize again, guys, about the charts today. So, bit of a tougher look. Joey, let's take a quick look though at the other trade that we've got on. RKLZ can't seem to shake that 90 seller. Up into 90 we go. I'm waiting at 94, so no new prints on that one. But I did get into this one again. I'm talking about EGHT. We're going to stop out if it loses 35, but I'm looking for a curl up maybe into 50. It does give me that, that inkling that we are kind of rounding off that volume weighted average price and looking possibly to test 250 again, Joe.
Yeah, good luck, man. The chat makes me chuckle. Once again, whoever said what they said yesterday, and then someone said, call the homicide unit for Tesla today. So let's pull up Tesla and see.
Why is Tesla getting clipped too?
Dude,
like,
man,
it has nothing to do with anything.
It doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
Call the homicide unit right here on TSLA as it's continuing to move a little bit lower. Silver heading towards an additional neckline. What do you got going on?
The homicide.
Oh, is that the homicide?
I don't know. It's the closest I've got, brother.
Okay, yeah, I like that one then. We'll hit it one more time. We're going to call the homicide unit across the board here. Multiple casualties on today's session, Shreve. It's unfortunate. I mean, we probably shouldn't joke about it. Whoa, we got this one here, though. Adara, you haven't heard this one in quite some time. Bang. Yeah, there we go. We'll throw that one up there. Yeah, exactly. So we'll throw that one up there, guys. It's been a little bit of a tougher session. If you haven't been shorting, right? Like, I think it's just a little bit easier to go with the flow here today. Obviously, much easier said than done. Yeah, end phase right back towards the top, failing to establish a new high. This is kind of just what I'm keeping my eyes on right now. You could probably just get involved in a little bit of some of this mega cap tech, and then you might get that. You might be fortunate enough to get a little bit more of a breakdown. As Tesla was trading around 424 today, now down to 454 cents. As this indecision print got my eyes kind of opening up a little bit here, Gaurav, but now it looks like we're starting to break that and head a little bit lower. There's silver down to 76.76 and looking like it wants to head towards the low of the day. Uber putting that inverted up here, failing to establish a new HOD. So we got our eyes on multiple things. End phase is going to be the primary. It would probably be smarter for me to just go with the flow and then buy.
Silver.
So silver, yeah.
Silver's
Are you still in ZLS?
No, I'm out, but yeah.
It's heading right back towards the low of the day, Sharif. So I wouldn't be surprised if we breach it and then head into that $75 mark. We can head over to our scan and see what we got going on that front. If there's anything exciting, who's putting in the most volume here today, have the small cap scan ready to go. Talk a little bit with Luis. Not too long from now, probably 12 minutes. We're gonna 12 minutes. Yeah, you got that ready to rock and roll as well. But we'll head over to the scanner. SLV with NVDA 101 million shares. Market cap still around 4 trillion, I should say. Silver, TQQ's SMCI. What are we trading at now? Approximately 31.90. Oh man, yeah, what a breakdown there. It's unfortunate we didn't get the ability to take advantage of that one. I had a feeling we were going to break down on SMCI, and there goes Google continuing to move lower. We were at a previous peak of around $348. This trend line is on the breach of being snapped if it hasn't already, Sharif. So I know Neil's going to be keeping an eye out on that one. Let's see what that earnings report brings later this evening.
All right, LIMN is reawakening over here, and it looks like it might be on a breakout. We're going to give this one the old college try. There's that 65 seller. Let's go ahead and post some into the high 60s, low 70s. It's up 52%, a great hold off VWAP, but it's going to have to continue. Right, I certainly see, that double top had a very close opening and closing print on those two candles. I'm talking about the 11:55 and the 12 o'clock candles. The opening print 172, the closing print on the green candle 173. The opening print, as well 172, 173. So we got resistance at 170, even though the day high is 183. So I'm going to keep my eye on this one. Let's see if we can build a position possibly into 50s. Where do we get in? 65. So let's see. Prior bar low, by the way, is south of 50 at 143. So that is a little concerning. But we'll look to defend that 150 because look at all the rejections into that 150 area. So here's what I'm going to do. Let's add small on the dip. So I'm going to put those dip trades for small share size. Into the mid to low 150s. Let's go ahead and put that. And then we're going to stop out at 150 if it loses it. Showing 68s. I'm waiting at 69, looking for a price spike up. Huge seller at 68. Hidden seller, nothing being taken off the gateways there. So we know there's a big boy seller at 168. Can we shake them? Now they're selling at 67s. That's something, there we go, into 69. We can't get the print. There's a seller at 69 as well. Can't shake that seller. Continuing to watch. It's the hidden seller everywhere because nothing's getting taken off the gateways at all. Looking for a possible dip and then a price spike up into 170. So showing 68s again. There's 66. I didn't get a chance to add there. Let's see if we can get, there it is. All right, let's see if we can get a move up now into 68, 69. Nope, back into 60 we go. So let's see what this one's going to do. Is it going to lose the bid? If it loses the bid, I'm out at 50. Simple as that. What do we got? We got 64 showing 63. No continuation on LIMN at the moment. Let's see if we have another attempt here at that 69 penny level. Couldn't shake the seller last time. I'm also, guys, involved in EGHT, looking for a move into 50 on that, and then we're still holding RKLZ. That one is just like bleeding upwards. That's an inverse Rocket Labs ETF. Seller at 63 here on LIMN. They're selling everywhere, and they're all hidden. So let's continue to watch that. Yeah, the 10 EMA on the 5 also kind of showing that $0.50 support. So if the $0.50 holds, this will be a good trade, but it's going to have to hold first, Joey. Continue to watch. What do you got, brother?
Yeah, same thing, man. Shout out to California and the individuals in LA who know Abby Dijon. Abby Dijon, one of my favorite bands. More low-key. I don't think they put anything out in quite some time. But yeah, other than that, guys, shout out to that. Now, as for MFBound, this is what I want. I want to try to get in on top of the ask here. If we can continuously lift, and if we hold this, once again, 50.84, there might be a solid opportunity. Now, listen, I understand I'm heading myself in the chop. With that being said, if we do have the ability to get involved in this at prices that we want without it breaking up, and we do get that support level break and the volume weighted average price break, I'm going to have to go to a higher time frame and eliminate a lot of this noise, right? Because we made that mistake with FMCI. I sound like Mike Tyson over there. Yeah. There it goes, a nice little breakdown to $38. So that was a little bit of a missed opportunity, but that's okay. There's going to be plenty more, or we may not even have to take anything, right? Like it's been ENPH. It's been a pretty good one, and we're not going to complain whatsoever. Just looking ahead, looking forward here, guys. Someone said Tesla broke 400. You have Uber breaking necklines as well too. It was very interesting.
Like price breaking necklines. It sounds like they're breaking necks.
Yeah, it is essentially. Breaking. It is a break. I'm sure a lot of people's necks are being broken.
It's perfect analogy for today.
Exactly. So that's it. But no, in all seriousness, I just say, because we look at head and shoulders and support levels, I just essentially call them necklines. So like it's just I'm playing the break of the neckline, right? So it's just, again, then you look for that forward momentum. This is potentially a shelf right here, or neckline on Uber. It could head a little bit lower, but initial earnings report, clean flush to the downside, and then it could just slowly, I wouldn't say slowly, climbs higher, and then you put in a new HOD, even in the pre-market before the open, and then you give the majority of that back. So let's see what this move has in store for Uber if you're going to head back towards that $71 mark. I mean, time is ticking right now. It's almost 1 o'clock, so only 3 hours. I shouldn't say only 3 hours. We're at that halfway point of the session. So things are going to start to slowly cool down. You want to go with the flow, as I continuously said over and over again. Eddie, the distributor. What's up, brother? Will RBLX be long? Kids in Roblox are staging ICE agents going into door-to-door and arresting illegal aliens. I have no idea about what ICE is doing and all that stuff. Yeah, they're staging people. They're kind of setting people up, maybe, I think is what he's getting at. Will RBLX climb a little? LX. What? Yeah, I don't know. So there's a lot going on there. 58%. Not going to try and catch a falling knife on RBLX. You want to wait for these trend lines to be broken, Eddie, the distributor. And again, if you want to get in early, just be prepared for a little bit more downside. You know the current sentiment of the overall market. If you just wait for the backside of this trend line, then I think you'll have a little bit better of an opportunity.
Yeah, sorry. I was just typing. All right, LIMN, price spike into 70. That's the resistance. So this is concerning. So we got a whole bunch of prints onto that. But as you can see, there's a couple of prints north of 70 that didn't print, that didn't move, that didn't get filled, excuse me. I still maintain my bias. There it is, into 76. There's a price spike up, 78, 92. Give me my money, man. Boom, Joey freaking options, man. Let's get this.
Give me my money.
Just give me my money. There we go. Nice trade here. I wish I had a couple of more that dip trades that filled, but there goes all LIMN into the high day at 195. We've got 63s on. We did add a bunch of times in this, a bunch of two orders, dip trades into 50 went unprinted, but I still have a good position on this one. Looking for the continuation to 93. That's the only unfilled order. We're still holding shares here, man. So we got to wet the beak here in case there's a price spike down. And then we need to wait in front of $2 because 195, you know that's on the door at 2. So if price spikes up into that 90s area, I want to get the beak wet. Hit it. There we go. Dipping back down into the 70s. Watch out, guys. I'm going to take out a little bit more over here. Do we still have? Yeah, we still have a good amount. So I'm going to pack the patience back into the 70s we go. Good look here on LIMN. I'm liking how I traded this. I like the fact that it showed me support at 50. I got in. I had to risk 15 pennies, right? We got in at 64s originally. Now we have a better price with 62. So LIMN up 67%. Man, it's been hard trading some of these small cap gappers today because it's just been not that many of them, quite frankly. And this one is nice that it is actually breaking out midday with a $2 essentially high day. RKLZ coming back down into 85. I've got 75s. I need to be alive to that. How's the other trade? Oh, there goes 8 into 250. What do we have on that one? We have 43s. I'm looking for continuation now into 54s. Let's see if this one can weasel up back into 57s. That's a high a day. It's also up 50%. Had a good trade on this one earlier. We defended into the 2/3 of a dollar. Now I'm looking to defend into that 35 penny area. I see a lot of support at 35. So that's where my stop is, and that's where it remains. So we'll keep tabs on that. Back to LIMN. This is the one that just had the breakout, showing 80s again. This one did double top through the 3/4 of a dollar right around noon, and then dropped and lost VWAP, lost the 10, lost everything. So I'm expecting here, or I'm at least on guard for a big retracement in kind of the similar way that we got at 11.55 and 12. It's not immediately doing that. It's showing still the price here in the 80s, but nor is it taking out any of the mid-90 prints that I have waiting for it, mid and high 90s. So keeping an eye out there. Oh boy!
What happened, my boy?
Look at the super, and from one of our favorite people too. Shout out to Eddie.
Yeah,
he's gonna troll us, right? Like we still haven't. I still haven't psychologically recovered from.
Do you
the
even know who this guy?
loss.
I don't even know who this guy is. Tarek Scuball.
I don't know who he is either, but you know, it's the fact that the Dodgers seem to have signed somebody. Maybe
Yeah, you
that
see all the
Blue Jays
other
wanted.
owners crying about it, saying that there's going to be somewhat of a hard cap now because these guys are just spending a little.
Baseball's been like that forever. New York did it in the 2000s. They spent up the yin yang, and they continue to spend up the yang. You tell me Rogers doesn't have deep pockets, man?
Of course they do.
You know what I mean? Like taking my money every dang month, man.
You use it, why going? Oh
My
yeah,
cable, my
Yeah.
internet, my phone. Right? So they have plenty of money, those people.
That's what Rogers is saying to you, man. Give me my money.
Yeah, it's exactly what it's been saying.
We have that pre-authorized payment on there. We don't have to be knocking.
I have no pre-authorized payments. Zero.
So wait, you just pay it yourself every month? Why?
Because I don't want anybody dipping their hand in my bank account.
Without your approval?
Yeah.
Without you sending?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. And you know what else I do?
You're sending what?
I keep my checking account at zero, my boy.
Your checking account?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wanna know why?
Yeah, same, man.
Because
Well, not
I
zero,
put
but
everything in the
relatively close.
savings, and I disconnected my debit card from the savings.
Yeah, yeah, I put
So you
everything
get
on.
that debit, you're gonna have zero money in the checkings. Anytime I want to buy something, go into the app, move it from savings to
Over
checkings. That way we protect.
I do that for my
Do that?
CC.
You do that?
Yeah, I put all the cash onto the
Too
CC.
many cart skimming.
Too many scams.
Scams right
What kind of nonsense is this? I have to pay.
Get it, Ram.
I have to pay them money for them to hold. I have to pay the bank money to hold my money so that they can invest my money and then make money.
Well, that's the way it is.
I understand that's the way it is. It's complete.
I know, but like, what are you gonna
BS
do?
on that front, man. All right, come on, M-Phase. It looks like we're gonna get that breakdown here momentarily. I'm just gonna keep an eye out on some.
Oh, here we go.
Go, tell them.
LIMN into 92. Can we get a 95 showing 93? Looking for more, man. Let's see if we can get a price 94. There is the print 97. Boom! Into the high. We still have some at 61. Let's go ahead and wait now. We're going to go north of 2 into 207. It's showing it's good side now, up 81% and on the verge of taking $2. And there goes ZSL, Joey, into the high as well, 230. And guess what? There goes 8 into 255, baby. We're taking prints there as well. Let's go ahead and wait into 62. They're both breaking out at the same time. EGHT, LIMN. There goes LIMN through the order. Oh, I ran out of shares, Joey, but I got the top wick there. So 210 high on LIMN. I'm all out of that one. Zigging and zagging. Let's see if we can get a little bit more here, man.
Okay.
Let's see if it dips back down into that 190, 180 area. I'm a buyer there.
The market maker is going to be calling the homicide unit, saying this Sharif guy is just taking all our money here these days. So you got to watch out.
That's hilarious. What's going on over there, Katina, man? The Katina Man is still short NVIDIA as it continues to bleed its own blood. It is now over 4% negative. Katina Man, what's the price there, brother? 177.50. So you know your boy's over $4 in the money on that. We're going to shout it to the Katina Man. Great trade, brother. And what are you doing over there?
Hydration Nation, man, just drinking a little bit of water over here.
I like it, Joe.
Seeing what we got going on. N-Phase continuously not wanting to break down, but silver putting in a new low of the day at that $76 mark. That's all fine. We're all out of that one. The TQs, not much of a bid being found here, guys. We'll just run through what's Ethereum, ETHA. What have you been? Oh man. What have you been up to? Not looking too good either. As it's, I mean, it's not horrible on today. You have the 1678 roughly open, and then now you're trading around 1596. That isn't too bad. I mean, it's not like we don't got to call it a homicide unit on today's session. Just over the long term, you just definitely want to. That's going in the cold case files right there, Sharif. NVDA, SLV.
Oh, we got the OG here,
yeah,
man.
Oh yeah, it's 1 o'clock.
OG here.
All right, man. Whenever we're ready, let's fire things up.
Yeah, we're ready, Assassino. Right. There he is, Luis. Thank you for joining us, Luis. How's the trading day been, my man?
It's been very good. Very interesting day, as well as yesterday as well.
Yeah, well, everything is red, at least you know, in the regular market. But in our market, Luis, small cap gapper world, what did you trade today? I'd love to hear what you traded and how it went.
Yeah, we can check what we traded today, and also we can check what we traded yesterday because of the watch list we created pre-market. So let's see what we did also yesterday. But today, I think it's very important to check your trading LIMN and put some knowledge peel into this trade, okay? Because as you could see, yesterday was popping up pre-market until 90s. And the first thing I always do when we trade a sub-dollar stock is to check the non-compliant list company, okay? And if you check this list, you will see LIMN on the list with a bid price non-compliant regulation. What does it mean? That it closed below $1 for 30 days in a run. So it has to trade over $1 for 10 consecutive days, right? So with this, taking this into account, you have to think, okay, the company will try to push it above $1 and keep it there for 10 days. They have 180 days to do it. So that means around mid of July, they must be traded over $1 for 10 days in a run. So what I mean, if you see a stock popping up near to $1 and you see that this company has the non-compliant bid price, be aware that it might break $1 and hold few days, you know, just to follow this rule.
That's an excellent suggestion, Luis, and I think I'm definitely going to add that myself to see why it's trading above the dollar, especially the ones that, you know, on the door of the dollar, you know, trading around there, whether it's in non-compliance. Thank you for that suggestion. That's actually excellent.
And also take into account the days run out. So we are in the second day over $1. So if you are in the 8th or 9th day, you know the probabilities are that they will hold above $1. And also, if it's below $1 in the, let's say, end of June or near July, you take into account that they will follow any action for the CEOs. They will apply any action in order to go above $1. Usually is a reverse split. They reverse split the stock, so they keep it over $1, although the market cap keeps the same, right?
We typically see when they do a reverse split that it fades after that because the market's wise, that whole thing. But I was going to ask you, what are the mechanics here that's happening, Luis, when the stock reaches, you know, that 30-day sub $1? Is the company buying back its own stock? Are shareholders or, you know, insiders buying the stock, or do they solicit somebody? Why is the stock moving up into that dollar? How do they get the mechanics to work that way?
Well, there are a few mechanics. Mainly is sending some news. I'm not going to say fake news, but some news that sometimes are not so important, or old news, recycled news that we call it, in order to push, to give some volume to the stock and some, you know, highlight to the social media. So that's one way. And well, if it goes near to the end of the period, let's say half of July, they can ask to the Nasdaq regulators for another 180 days if they follow the other Nasdaq regulation rules. But if not, they go delisted. So that's a terrible news for the company. So they will try everything on their hands.
All right, my co-host Joey wants to ask you a question as well. Go ahead, Joe.
Hey, Luis, how's it going? First time having a conversation with you, and more than happy to be able to. But I have a couple questions. So as an individual who trades more or less mid and large cap, I still run through a small cap scanner. Now, there's a specific name that I have on my radar here that has traded substantial volume, and that's one of the criteria that I'm looking for here in the morning. And that name is going to be MOBX. We're roughly trading around $0.01 of a dollar right now. But with something that has that much substantial volume, I'm curious how you would specifically look at this and play, because I know you like trading things to the short side. So what my question to you is, with something that has that much momentum, trading approximately 33% higher, even up to 66% higher, what from a momentum standpoint are you looking for in things to cool down in order for you to take a trade in a name that has traded roughly around 400 million shares on today's session?
Yeah, usually I don't trade so below a dollar. So if it's below 60 or 17 cents, I don't even look at it. You have to take into account in the sub-dollar tickers, we don't have rebates. So you pay to go in or out, no matter if you add liquidity or remove liquidity. So a lot of volume is traded in the market because we add liquidity and we get rebates for it. And under our dollar, there is no that rebate. So it's a little bit more difficult. So also take into account what kind of company and how the company is totally destroyed, is trading 20 cents. But if you go like daily, you will see probably a lot of reverse splits. It's a recent IPO from $10 to $0 mainly. So, it's not a type of a stock, even if it has a lot of volume, that we will trade. We had some resistance there, although I didn't trade. We have some resistance here. You see in the 40, 50 cents. You might try to short there, but for me, it's also very difficult to manage the risk and the position sizing in this kind of a stock. It's difficult to measure how many cents you can be wrong or right and how many shares you should buy or sell.
Perfect. Thank you for that. So with that being said, Luis, so you're looking for names that are a little bit north of a dollar. You're looking for volume. Tell us a little bit more criteria you're looking for specifically in order to trade and short some of these small cap names.
Yeah, well, we have for our own scanner, so it scans anything that is gapping up over 20-25% with high relative volume in the last 5 minutes. Mainly, we create our watch list pre-market, and we used to do with you guys. So we can check today, for example, what we have traded, and yesterday, of course. Yesterday, I think for us, it's very important that all our traders do the journaling. What did they trade every day? What mistakes did they do? And what tax or what kind of setup was every trade? So, for example, yesterday, reviewing the trades of yesterday, we have very interesting. This stock was gapping up. It's GXAI.
Yep.
Was gapping up or fighting the $2 round number. And I discussed with Sherif some days that he usually go long. So this is a perfect example of when going long, when going short. I'm going to show you this. Okay, this is what we call the triangle, okay, of the day. So the triangle for us is what is the pre-market highs, where is the VWAP, and where is the open. So if you see pre-market, it's a nice choice to go long because it's trading below VWAP with a lot of volume, with a lot of momentum, But once it fails, the VWAP, and we have the open here, this is the questioning areas. The shorts are not very comfortable, the longs either. Once it breaks the pre-market highs, this is a long area, right? This is a long area. We're trading above VWAP, above open with a lot of volume and breaking pre-market highs. Once we have lower highs in this area, it's a nice place to go short, expecting the VWAP to break. This is like the confirmation of the short side, right? So long side and back side, right?
Perfect.
All right, Luis, I have a question for you. LIMN, the one we were just speaking about, halted down. I think it's halted down, I believe, at 132. So if we can show my chart, Andre. What's your, in this particular case, halted down below the volume weighted average price, Luis, below the pre-market high, which I think was around $1.46, still positive on the day. I think the closing print's 107. What's the setup here? In a stock like this, what are you looking for to say, yes, this is now a short, and here's the short on? Like, what's the setup on a stock like this?
First, check the news, because it looks like an offering, okay? It looks like a public offering. So when they offer shares, when they raise capital, there is the dilution, what we call dilution, right? There is more shares in the market, so the price should go down. So it looks like an offering. If it's an offering, we will look for a pop to VWAP 150, 140, 150, 160 to go short. Because if they diluted the stock, the price, it should go lower, right? You have to check, of course, how many million shares they offer and at what price. But that should be the setup here. I wish I could cut that short there, waiting for an offering, because the one thing you should do when you short is looking for the probability of offering. Okay, so you go to our websites like Dilution Tracker and you see how much this company needs to raise capital, how many months of cash they have, and what's the probability of an offering ATM during the market.
Okay, so that's from the offering side. From the technical side, Luis, are you looking for maybe the loss of the day the day low, the loss of the closing print? Is there anything volume related, like these volume candles right now that we just printed at 1 o'clock and 1:05? These are the largest volume candles on the day, and they're both red. 2.6 million shares and 2.4 million shares, and they're topping till into 210. So for me, I would be looking to go short under two conditions. I don't know if you feel about this. It has to be below the volume weighted average price. It has to be below the pre-market high, and it just opened and it's losing the bid again into 118. Do you wait for a pre-market low here at around 109 for a possible short?
I think if it is offering, the technical part doesn't have so much value. You don't pay so much attention, because if it's an offering, we don't care about VWAPs or lows. We care about right now there are more shares in the market, and the price has to be diluted, right?
Right, that's a great point. Do you have anything, Joey?
Well, you know what, Shreve, it's been a tough day here for, obviously, is Luis still there? It's been a tough day, yeah. It's been a tough day in the markets, obviously, with the mega cap tech selling. So what I want to do here, Luis, is pour a little bit more salt in the Canadian wounds, and that is going to be, we're sitting around approximately -7 right now, feels like -12. I want to know the temperature in Barcelona, because, I mean, if it's worse, you may as well make it a little bit more. What's it like over there in Barcelona? I see you're wearing a T-shirt as well.
Well, first of all, you have to take into account the hour difference. It's almost at night here. It's 7:15 evening. So, but I think we are like 16 degrees.
Oh my God. Oh my goodness.
So, I mean, it's worse now because it's cooler at nighttime. He's probably sitting around a 25-degree day. So there it is.
Yeah. We thank you so much, Luis, for actually taking the time. I know it's evening in Barcelona, and to be able to hang out with us. It's really important, brother, that we kind of try to diversify the small cap trading, and I really appreciate you kind of giving us very, very specifically here exactly where to look for the compliance, and then how to look for offerings, especially on a thing like that. Those are two things I'm definitely going to add to my repertoire, and I really appreciate you coming on. Do you have anything else, Joseph?
No, that's it. Fantastic stuff. Thank you very
so much for
Luis.
being on, Luis.
Thank you very much, you guys.
That was banger right there. Those are two things that I didn't have in mind.
Mm-hmm.
You know about them, but you don't add them to the toolbox there. Yeah, like everybody knows, yes, compliance south of $1 30 days. Everybody knows the rules, but you don't actually include it in the checklist. You know, for the small cap.
I found it interesting because I didn't know that he doesn't trade anything south of $1, right? So I'm like, hey, when you see something that has like 400 million shares traded on the day, it's like, hey, we're not even really paying attention to.
There's a lot of small cap traders that have that $1 rule. I didn't make that up in a vacuum. Like that's
no, not at all.
We've talked about that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so
it's good to know that.
What's going on there, Katina, man? Oh, he's talking about something else. Guys, SUNE is moving up. We're going to start the news segment momentarily with Sia. She's in the house. We're ready to go. We're locked and loaded. But SUNE, did find a clean hold off the volume weighted average price. I want to say the closing prints were clean because it did wick below it, but here it comes again, trying to test that 130 area. Looks like the high of this candle is 128, high on the day is 135, so just be alive to that one. It's also not doing too much volume relative to the price. 38.7 million shares, I get it, that's a lot of volume, but given the time of the day, given the price, it's not the most liquid, and you can kind of see that distributed within the candle pattern anyway. So I'm still holding a couple of trades, 8 and RGLZ. I'm gonna flatten out both because I want to be able to focus on the news. So we're gonna end those trades right now, and we're gonna take them for some profits. They're both in the money, and yes, Sia, are we ready to start the news segment?
You're locked and loaded, good to go. Okay, so NVIDIA is reportedly having a $20 billion investment in OpenAI. The transaction is not yet finalized, but there's a couple of sources that have been talking about this. But sources are also indicating that NVIDIA's participation is very close to completion. OpenAI is also targeting up to $100 billion in new funding, implying a valuation roughly of about $830 billion, my apologies. This would rank among the largest private funding rounds ever, Sharif.
Okay, so I saw a video yesterday of Jensen being pressed by a reporter and saying, you said $100 million that you were going to commit. And he's like, no, we were offered by OpenAI to invest up to $100 million. We never made the commitment we were going to spend exactly $100 million. It could be up to if, all the ingredients were met. Fine, Jensen, that's fine. I get there's probably political pressure on you to make big number announcements so that we can all, or the politics of it can kind of show the economy's in line, we're leading the AI race. I get all that. Now, my concern is the infighting that's happening between these two companies. They're both leaking things to these news agencies and then denying them to sort of battle each other back. What do I mean? So we heard that Jensen wasn't happy with how OpenAI is, with the structural discipline within the company. Then literally a day later, it leaked and was denied by Altman that he wasn't happy with NVIDIA's GPUs for inference. And that's something we've been alive to for a long time now. We've known that they weren't the best chips for inference because they're not specifically made for that operation. That's why I've been yelling about custom ASICs for a long time now, because I think that is going to be the new wave. So that is my concern here, that one of their biggest investors and one of the biggest AI companies seem to be at odds, at least for the moment. Now, what does that have to do with the trade itself? Well, we could see a scaling down of the investment by NVIDIA in OpenAI. And you think that may hurt OpenAI. But we know for a fact that this has been a circular investment. Yeah. NVIDIA props up OpenAI through not only the selling of chips, but investments as well. And then they buy NVIDIA chips with the money NVIDIA invested. They've done this with CoreWeave. They've done this with a bunch of other different companies. So the circularity of the business concerns me because of this tension that's happening right now.
My question is at what point are we looking here at Sam Altman? How many funding rounds has he done? Yeah, I don't know, Anil. Do you need that, man? Are you getting something from the vending machine or something?
We have to go to Dare. She's got breaking news, brother. Yeah.
I do, and it concerns Nike and KE. I'm just trying to see if this is, I haven't really seen much interest of this. I'm trying to see if this is like a story that's just come out, but I am just seeing reports now suggesting that apparently the company faces a U.S. investigation over an alleged bias against white employees and diversity policies. This is just me reading the headline, guys, and the stock is dropping on it a little bit. So again, Nike here facing a discrimination investigation, it looks like, from the U.S. If I get more details, I'll keep you posted. Back to you.
Yeah, I just want to know, at what point, all I hear is that Altman is just continuously going through these funding rounds. He's really going to be indebted to a lot of investors at this point. So I'm curious to where this leads him. You don't hear this from Anthropic. Obviously, you're not going to hear it from Google or anything along those lines. They don't need to do those types of things. So yeah, that's just where I stand. It's very interesting for me to see him continuously raising capital when essentially you still haven't had any form of an ROI, and nor has he really monetized ChatGPT, and it continues to to slide in the LLM race. Like, what more does he have to offer than what ChatGPT did? I get it, it's a vast library, but what more other than that is it really?
Yeah, look, bro, I think their best move was first mover advantage.
Yeah.
I don't think that they have the best LLM when you're looking for current items. I don't even think it's the fastest because maybe there's a lot of usage and pressure on it. I'm using Grok. I'm paying for Grok now on my phone. I love Grok. I have ChatGPT, the paid. I have Grok paid. We have Gemini 3 paid. I like Gemini 3. I'm not saying anything bad about Gemini 3. I think Gemini 3 is fantastic if you're looking for current items. Why? Because it goes into Google's database search, right? Altman doesn't have that advantage. Yes, ChatGPT goes and does a search for you, but it's not as good. And there's just that's the reality.
And my question to you is, it says $830 billion, but we also heard that there would be approximately the valuation around $1 trillion.
Yes.
Like, is ChatGPT truly worth $1 trillion?
If you're looking from a fundamentals revenue, no, they don't make that much money. Right? But it's always forward-looking.
It's forward-looking, but again, he has to really monetize this tool. And how's he going to do it? Obviously, digital ad revenue is going to be massive, but where else is he going to get it from?
Gemini that
well, that's what he's been saying. We've been waiting for this digital ad revenue for a long time, and I think Chat's best days are behind it. That's just my opinion.
I'm not going to, right now it may seem like that, but truly, is it really worth $1 trillion? I don't know.
Well, what it's worth is what the investors say it's worth. You know what I mean, Joey? Like, we can argue about, the fundamentals aren't there. They're not making enough revenue. I get all that. All right. Jensen and Sam are at odds, but not officially because they're both denying it. So, yeah, what's up?
Let's move on. So, as we know it, just about a year ago, Google search seemed to be on a shaky ground after the launch of ChatGPT in 2022. But since then, Google has rapidly proven itself and stabilized its position by rolling out its AI overviews. The release of Gemini 3 AI models in November finally brought Google to parity with OpenAI and Anthropic. And Google has gained traction with this in-house TPU chips. Also, heavy AI infrastructure investment is continuing. And Google is expected to spend $90 billion in 2025 CapEx. And analysts are looking for a $116 billion CapEx estimate for 2026 during its earnings, which will... Earnings Alphabet will be reporting later after post-market today. And roughly 75% of Google revenue, as we know it, comes from advertising, making search performance a critical driver in its revenue. And ad revenue is expected to grow by 13%. Wall Street is looking for an EPS of 2.63, which is up from 2.15 last year. And revenue is expected to reach $101.3 billion, representing a 15% growth, Joe and Sharif.
All right, so here's what I'm thinking immediately. That Google Cloud number, that's going to be front and center for me. Because the CapEx that they're going to spend, 100, as Sia was saying, projecting, it could be more, it could be less. The analysts are projecting 2026 CapEx, $116 billion. That would be a little bit less than what Meta is looking to spend. However, unlike Meta, Google can monetize that CapEx in a much shorter window. How? Google frickin' Cloud. Why? Because they're offering Neo Cloud services. Neo Cloud services is cloud service with AI tools embedded. And that is the monetization path. It's a short to intermediate term realization of investments that you're making in AI. So that I like, but I really want to focus on that. Number two, I want to hear about the ad revenue. We heard ad revenue from Meta was very strong, guiding way higher than what the street was expecting. But Meta is way more sensitive to ad revenue spend than Google. Meta, 97% of the revenue comes from ads. Google, 75%. But like I was saying to Brendo this morning, I'm like, we all talk about Google as the tech ETF, right?
Yeah.
As a joke. Yeah. But when you look at the revenue, not a joke. They are.
Obviously, yeah, exactly.
But when you look at the revenue, Joey, it's not a tech ETF because 75% comes from one, I don't want to say one source because their revenues, obviously, their ads are distributed in many different facets.
Absolutely.
But 75% of their money comes from one place.
See, the thing is, though, Sharif, and this is where priced in. The clip at which Google Cloud is continuing to grow at, I'm not saying it's going to take a substantial amount of that, but it's going to continue to grow, in my opinion. What are we looking at here as potential growth rate? That could be massive, and I think that's really what's front and center right now, is that cloud growth in Google, which I think we can, I'm not going to say put it on the back burner, but it might be a little bit hindsight from the digital ad revenue standpoint to see that clip rate in which Google Cloud is growing at, because what does that mean? That Neo Cloud, like you mentioned, that's more money in their pocket, which makes them less reliant on actual ad revenue in itself.
Well said. Yeah. Well said. I do appreciate that. Here's what we're expecting, guys. EPS of $2.63. That would be up from $2.15 last year on the quarter. And they're looking for that top line number revenue to come in at $111.3 billion, which would be representing a 15% increase over that top line number from last year. So those are the numbers that our analysts are expecting. I don't know if those numbers moved up in anticipation of earnings, but Google's already down 2% on the day.
But let's talk about this though.
Go ahead.
We had AMD's earnings last night. And I mean, if cloud comes in at 34%, we see what happened with Microsoft Azure. We've seen what happened with AMD's numbers, relatively good as well, right? We're not going to complain about them, but we are currently priced to perfection. And if you don't come in at a surprise, the street is going to probably punish this stock,
100%
considering current sentiment as well, too.
Oh, sorry about that. Tesla's wholesale sales from its Shanghai Gigafactory have risen 9.32% year over year. In January, it was totaling 69,129 Model 3 and Model Y units. These include the domestic China sales and exports. But volumes are down nearly 29% month over month, which is highlighting certain ongoing volatility as we know it. Tesla is really also struggling across Europe. Sales in France are falling 42% month over month to just 661 units. This has been the weakest number that Tesla has seen over the past 3 years. Registrations also in Norway have dropped 90% year over year. Overall, European sales have fallen sharply, and December deliveries are down 20.2% year over year. And as I mentioned yesterday, Tesla has introduced a new Model Y AWD trim price at $41,990, which is offering an EPA-rated range of 294 miles, which is aimed at refreshing demand in its core crossover lineup. But at the same time, Tesla is phasing out its premium Model S and Model X units in Europe. And as yesterday, Sharif and I mentioned, we were talking about Elon Musk's statement about how Tesla's long-term ambitions revolve around Optimus humanoid robots as of now, which is framing them as a future growth beyond Tesla's EVs.
Yeah.
You punching into an Optimus?
Of course.
You're going to punch?
Yeah, obviously. As soon as I have the ability to get one.
Immediately.
Right away.
Straight to jail.
Yeah, I go take it to like jujitsu and like boxing and teach it all like.
You gonna bully that thing or what?
Hell no.
No?
You know,
because they're gonna rise up.
Exactly.
They're gonna rise up.
It doesn't matter. I am kind regardless, man. There is zero reason. What happened to Norway though? I thought Norway was.
That's what I was thinking as well.
Supposed to be a Tesla stronghold.
It was like the area in Europe. So here's my take about this whole thing. We all know what is happening in Europe and why Tesla is experiencing weakness in Europe. It's two reasons. One, Elon Musk, the person. He's not very liked there. And number two, BYD is in that market right now. And when the Chinese EVs go somewhere, they proliferate. Just ask Brazil. Just ask Europe. Just ask the Middle East. They go and they dominate. Now, so that's why I think we're getting a bit of a headwind in Europe. Now, what's the headwind? What's the reason for the headwind in China? So yes, the Gigafactory sales rose 9.32% year over year, but though volumes remain down 29% month over month. What's the problem? It's not like they care about Elon Musk's politics in China. They don't. It's probably more inventory that's better than what he has to offer, more product offerings from these Chinese EVs than Tesla has to offer. So I don't really have anything positive to say, sadly, about Tesla at the moment, other than to say the runway for Optimus could be fantastic. These are not great numbers, but if you're in Tesla for the cars and the legacy EV business, you're probably in it for the wrong reasons, because I don't think Elon Musk is focusing on that as much anymore vis-a-vis the cancellations of the X And the S, yes, I realize he's shifting production to Optimus as a result. But it could also be, Joey, that sales on those two models were down because they're aging. Yeah. They haven't had a real revamp. They've been updated, to be fair, like, you know, superficial updates here and there. But the Model S, you look at that 2023 model, juxtapose it to 2026, it's almost the same car with a couple of, you know, changes in the lights and stuff like that, but it's the same body.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mentioned this before. I wouldn't be surprised 10, 15 years down the road if Elon Musk is like, hey, we're going to really start to throw this stuff on the back burner. He's going to use his factories to just construct robotics and obviously his autonomous vehicles. I can see those models going in that direction as well too. Less components, you can increase the margins on them as well. So you just have pure autonomy. But again, when you own the majority of the market share in Europe, that is, sure enough, there's only one way you can go, and that's down when you have these Chinese competitors really undermining your price at half of the value of what some of these Tesla vehicles are coming in. That's one thing that I expect, and I'm going to continue that this trajectory is going to stay on that same path, especially if these Chinese vehicles continue to funnel into Europe, because Tesla can't compete with those numbers.
No, man, there's this Zeekr. I was showing Randy
I heard
this
you
morning.
saying the Zeekr. It's nasty, dude.
Bro, the Zeekr. I think. Hold on. I need to tell everybody about this. It's ridiculous.
Dude, you see the one that is that the one that looks like a GTR?
I think.
Right, it looks like some form.
Xiaomi SU7?
No, it's not a Xiaomi. It's none of those. It looks like a kind of like a GTR mixed with a Subaru. This thing is absolutely insane, and it's like 25K.
Really?
Yeah, it's
Here's
ridiculous.
what I'm talking about. This is the one here, the Zeekr 9X. Let's go images. I'd show you the video, guys, but we'd probably get dinged. This looks like a Cullinan to me.
Exactly.
Yeah, it looks like the Cullinan. You got to see. Number one, it's 3 rows. It's got 2 captain's chairs in the middle row. The 2 captain's chairs rotate electronically so that people with disabilities can get in from the side, and the second row can face the third row. It's got a fridge. It's like 1,000 horsepower. It's ridiculous. It's got a movable screen that you can use hand gestures for. This comes to Canada, bro.
Over.
Your boy is jumping all over this.
There's zero chance we're getting that, though.
Oh, we can get anything, but it's going to probably be in small numbers.
You could probably order it, though.
Look at the dual screen on that monster, man. Look at this. Open and new.
How is there such a discrepancy in between what we're, technology standpoint, and it's significantly cheaper to what these guys are spitting out?
I love it.
How's there that much of a difference? I don't get it.
Yeah. I think they're, they're not held back by some of the issues that we have here.
We're not going to blame it all. We can't blame it all on Union.
I don't know, Joe. To be honest with you, I mean, like, why isn't Ford doing it? Are they not aware of what the Chinese are doing? There's got to be a reason. Let's go on to the next one. See ya.
Absolutely. Let's move on to Microsoft. Microsoft shares are down 15% year to date. As Azure cloud growth came in below expectations last week, management has also signaled a sharper focus on relocating certain compute toward AI R&D and Copilot products. But Microsoft is also reshaping sales leadership currently. It promoted 4 senior executives months after appointing Judson Althoff as CEO of commercial business. Additionally, it's also brought back executive Hayat Galat to take over cybersecurity space, while Charlie Bell takes a new role around engineering quality. So these are the current updates. Deb Cupp was named Executive Vice President and Chief Revenue Officer for Global Enterprise Sales. Nick Parker, a longtime Microsoft veteran, has become the EVP of Worldwide Sales and Solutions. Ralph Hopter takes on the EVP and CRO for SMBs and Channel. And Mala Anand, formerly of SAP, becomes EVP and Chief Customer Experience Officer. Sharif Joe.
So here's what I recall. Microsoft lowered its sales expectations for its sales team, I think about a month ago, give or take. So that usually in and of itself is not a good move. That means that there was pressure that they weren't meeting their goals. You could make the argument maybe the goals were a little too lofty. I happen to take the other view. Now we're hearing that there's a marked shift, a shakeup in the sales team here with all these different appointments that Sia went through line by line. So to me, Microsoft right now is definitely experiencing issues with its sales. Now, we know that, they obviously are involved in software. I don't think that that's where the majority of their money comes in anymore, but they certainly are. And as we've been talking about the last, few hours, the software, the SaaS players are really getting disrupted right now with AI and many of the other kind of reasons we've been talking about lately. So, and then we can't forget, obviously, Azure did miss. Even if it was up by 1 percentage point.
It was a 1%. Right?
I know, Joey, but it missed.
And that's kind of what I was getting at. Does that kind of call for a reshuffling in spend, essentially? I don't know. That's kind of where I'm standing on this thing. It's been over-exaggerated. And this could be the start of a lot here, because if we see that Microsoft is really starting to reshuffle, and I don't know if they're questioning how much they're actually spending, but if Microsoft, being one of the largest market capitalization companies, is starting to look at it in this way, what does that mean for the other mega cap names like Meta? You have NVDA spending as well too. You have Amazon spending. So is this the start of maybe, hey, we need to cool down the spending, even though we know the forward guide Meta's increasing the spending, but after a couple quarters, do you think they're going to start to slow things down and cool the spending off?
Well, it's a great point. And I was just checking on their last earnings call. They guided CapEx for 2026. A tad shy of 100 billion.
Okay.
97.7 billion.
And what was our previous quarter spend? We don't have
the quarter? That. 37.5 in the quarter. I was talking full year though.
Okay, so 97 full year, 37
full
previous
year.
quarter.
In 26, that's what they're guiding.
Okay.
But that's
and
still,
what was 25 full year?
I think it was 80 something if I'm not mistaken. It increased, but it's still less than Meta.
It's still less than Meta, but not by much though. I mean,
30 billion, brother.
But Meta's at 120 or something, something along those lines. But does this mean that, hey, we're at the peak of this spending? Because are you expecting Microsoft and Meta to be like, oh, next year we're not spending 130 billion, we're spending 150?
I don't want.
And then Microsoft saying, oh, we're spending 110. Do you see it going on that trajectory?
No, in fact, I see the opposite.
Exactly.
And I see the opposite because all those players, NVIDIA included, who have 70-some-odd% gross margins, those margins are going to
find cheaper chips.
Exactly, through custom ASICs, and that's really what I've been trying to pound the entire time home. Anyway, Microsoft, what is it? Up 1%, 415 and 2/3, but it's seen better days.
We're going to move on to AMD now. AMD has delivered a solid fourth quarter beat on both earnings and revenue, but also a report from CNBC has said that CEO Lisa Su defended the company's earnings and forecasts, and she said that AI is accelerating at a pace I would not have imagined. Su also said that the chipmaker has seen a step up in demand in its data center businesses over the last 2 to 3 months. EPS has come in at 1.53, which is well ahead of the 1.32 estimate, while revenue has come out at $10.27 billion, which also topped expectations. AMD has guided Q1 revenue to $9.8 billion and $300 million, which is above the LSEG consensus of $9.38 billion. And the guidance was seen as good, but not great. Client and gaming revenue also climbed 37% year over year to $3.9 billion, which is led by Ryzen CPU demand. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, I got to tell you, I'm at a loss for why this thing's down 16.5%, but it is what it is. There wasn't a whole lot wrong. Even the expectations, Assassino, if we can show this over here, it was essentially to be about 9.38. Okay, they guided 9.8 plus or minus 300. Let's take the minus. That would make it 9.5. But the street's hungry. They're thirsty. They want more. And according to this article, that 9.8 plus or minus 300 million was below some of the models by analysts, because I don't see a whole lot wrong here. I didn't see any data center weakness. Client gaming, which has been a dud essentially since COVID, it's picked up a little bit with the PC cycle, likely, in a refresh now. It's picked up 37% year over year. It's by no means their biggest number anymore, Joey. 3.9 billion on client gaming. Compare that to their, what's it called? Data center, which is a euphemism for AI, 5.4. And that data center continues to grow faster. Maybe the China story over here. This is the part I was talking to Ivan about in the chat. AMD disclosed $390 million in China revenue from the MI308 in Q4. But here's the deal. You're bringing in $390 now before President Trump allowed the MI 455 to get exported, and you're only going to bring 100 million the next quarter. What the hell is up with that? So if there was a China multiple included in the recent run-up for AMD, I think it got kiboshed, because I think people would at least look for that 390 number to be higher in Q1 of 26, not $100 million, 3 times lower than it was in Q4 of 25. So maybe the China number, I personally don't like that. I think that definitely China should have been a bigger one-way for AMD. And you saw the ridiculous orders that we got from NVIDIA. But what was it, 2 million H200s ordered? They can't even meet more than, I think, 400,000 of them.
Yeah. I see what was going on there. I mean, like, Sharif, client gaming, we were talking about this, improving margins on that front. Lisa Su was saying tens of billions of dollars potentially coming in full year 27, 28 or something along those lines in revenue, which would be absolutely insane. But again, when this name is priced to perfection, and that's where we're currently sitting at, that's where you're going to see a drop within AMD. There's a lot in the pipeline, and earlier in this race, we were talking about continuously, it's just that, hey, it's supposed to be NVDA and it's supposed to be AMD, the leaders, and this name started to play catch up, but now the reality is starting to really kick into the overall market, and that's why you're starting to see these names. You're expecting more? Like, let's cut the crap here, Sharif, as you would like to say. If we were in April lows, if you had an earnings report where the data center revenue is at 39% year over year, client gaming is up 37%, and embedded is up 3%, what is happening to this name? You're up 13%. You're not down 13% at that point. No. So that's why I think we're just really priced to perfection at this point. And eventually what's going to happen is we're going to price it out. We're going to bake whatever we need to out of the overall market. And then when the earnings still continuously grow at this clip rate, you're going to see the rebound in these names. But we just have to be patient.
I have to 100% echo that sentiment. I think we're going to see a rebound.
This is insane. What happens if things were starting to go negative? Like, I understand the street has lofty expectations, but let's get real here. Azure missed by 1%, still growing at 38%. You have data center revenue on AMD here up 39%. If this was a different sentiment, you see these stocks climbing significantly higher because we've seen it before. We've seen it before.
Remember the feeling? It wasn't even a year ago. Do you remember that April feeling?
Exactly.
Nobody wanted to buy that dip.
Nobody wanted to buy that dip, right? But now when you have these earnings, it's just a sentiment shift. So that's why I'm saying, hey, these numbers are absolutely phenomenal. The fundamentals are not there, and I think that's a reason not to worry.
I like that a lot. See ya.
We're going to move on to SMCI. It's surging on its earnings beat. Reported adjusted EPS of 69 cents versus 49 cents expected, alongside the revenue of $12.7 billion, up 123% year over year. It's well above its $10.4 billion consensus as well, and shares have surged 11% pre-market to $32.9 per share, where the stock had fallen 29% over the past 3 months. It's a good recovery. Management also guided to a 60-cent EPS and $12.3 billion revenue for the current quarter, which is topping the Wall Street estimates of 46 cents EPS and $11.3 billion revenue. Gross margin also came in at 6.3%, which is down sharply 11.8% from a year ago. Analysts are also looking for a sequential improvement in margins, which is over coming quarters to justify certain sustained multiple expansions. And despite the sharp rebound, SMCI is still in a repair phase technically.
Thank you, sir. See you first. We got to stop for a second. Thank Papacito very kindly, brother, for the 17.9 shekels. I don't know how to say the cents part of the shekels. Maybe you can educate me. Here's what it reads, and we're very, very proud of you, and we're very happy for you, brother. Got funded, boys.
Money. We'll hit this one for him as well, too.
Go hit it. Oh.
That's huge, man.
Best show to listen daily, even though I don't trade same things, but listening to show 8 hours per day, up my game 10 times. We're very, very thankful. This guy. We're going to do this. We really appreciate you, Papacito, brother, hang out with us, and thank you very much for the kind words. Very, very kind of you. Here's what I'm looking at, Joey, when SMCI. Why? Number one, you have a bad reputation so far on the street. You know, you were accused of, I don't want to say cooking the books, but you were doing some creative accounting there. And then there was the whole delisting thing. try to have, you know, the aura of legitimacy a little bit more. Show up on time with that earnings report. You know what I mean? Like, what the hell is going on over there? Get your ducks in a row. Let the street look at you from, you know, from less skeptical eyes by taking actions that help that endeavor. Now, here's what I want to talk about, the gross margins. Why the hell are the gross margins down from 11.8% year over year on the quarter down to 6.3? Well, if you read the article, the customer mix, tariffs, are trying to blame tariffs here, even though there's a lot of exceptions for chips, as we know, and shortages in key components like memory. That one sticks out to me. So, we know, we heard Lisa Su talk about it on the earnings call yesterday, like, what is it, 100 and I think 96 gigs of memory in that little computer that she was showing there yesterday. So make a long story short, there's a shortage of RAM, especially HBM, and that's eating into the margins of these server makers. You got to think HPQ, you got to think Dell, you got to think SMCI. So even though that top line number beat, Joey, are we going to see maybe some profitability issues as the components, you know,
for SMCI?
Well, yeah, anybody who's in the server game.
Well, I know, speaking of the name that we got going on, Sharif, one thing that stuck out to me, and we talk about this all the time, is the margins. It's shrinking. It's shrinking year over year. I don't want to hear these supply chain issues and increasing cost, obviously, with DRAM and everything along those lines. I don't know how this stock is up when what we focus on a lot here is growth, but also the increase in margin expansion. These guys are really starting to compress margins, and I think that's massive. And like, listen, for as long as I can remember, SMCI has been a habitual line step. I heard Neil say this morning. It's just continuous. Every quarter, there's something going on with their report. They're late. They're just not flat out reporting. I don't know what's going on. What are you hiding behind the book?
I don't like it.
Yeah, it's just every time. Like, how come it's like that one friend who's going to pick you up says, yeah.
Or he'll pay you back.
Yeah, or he'll pay you back. It's always
like,
it's always 30 minutes late. It's always this and that. That is SMCI. So it's like, what is going on here? I think that they should be punished because it's not just once. It's not just twice. It's happening over and over again with their reports. It shouldn't be that difficult. How much time do you have to gather your fundamentals, to get your accounting in order, and then report on time?
Remember
it's not like you're finding out the day before.
Exactly. Remember the accounting firm Ernst & Young was like, yo, we want nothing to do with you, bro.
Like, we're out of here.
We're out.
We're out of here.
So, you know, look, man, it is what it is. The company's up 9 or 9.5%.
I just don't get it. You have so much time to prepare for this, and you still have the inability to perform on time. For me, that's why I don't like the stock.
Something's fishy. I don't know what the hell is going on over there. Adira, please give us your take on SMCI.
Gross margin, Sharif, because that's exactly my issue, and that was the number one thing that stood out to me here. So this visual, which I just posted and quickly tried to get out ahead of this conversation because I wanted to show it here to you guys. You've got basically the green is going to be Q, or I guess in the case of this gross margin infographic, the left side, that'll be Q2 26, so the most recent quarter. The red or the middle is going to be last quarter, and the blue, the right-hand side, that's going to be year over year. So as you can see, improving on a year over year basis in net sales and net income, but gross margin is dropping. So I think it's a really interesting look that this metric is one where they are still struggling. Now, with regards to the late submission of the report, I said last night that I thought it was shady. Then I looked at when they actually released the report, which is at 4:51 p.m. And I don't mean 4:51 p.m. in 32 seconds, 4:51 p.m. in 12 seconds. When you look on Benzinga, the official release came out at 4:51:00. Which means I actually think it was maybe pre-scheduled to be released at 4:51. Sometimes these estimates for these releases are inaccurate. I think that could have been the case with SMCI. I'm going to give them a sliver of benefit of doubt, which is something, as you guys know, I do very little with any company, let alone SMCI. But honestly, like, if you look at that release, that is really what makes me think this is pre-scheduled, because if you get any of these other pre-scheduled releases, for example, Uber today, 6:55 a.m. on the dot, Eli Lilly, 6:45 a.m. on the dot, SMCI, inexplicably, 4:51 p.m. on the dot. I don't think the report was necessarily late as much as we were confused. And to be fair, it's extremely weird to release it at 4:51, like 4:50, 4:55. Or 4:05 when we thought you were going to. But regardless, I do think this release was pre-scheduled. I just think it was scheduled in an odd way. That monologue is now over. And yeah, I have to say, Charles Liang and co, a little bit confused by a lot of these management choices. I think, though, given the year-over-year net sales and net income increases, I think if we can get that gross margin up, and if we can report at, not 4:51 p.m., I think maybe we could see some continuing escalation here for SMCI. I like it.
Hold on, we got this
Go
super
ahead,
chat
Joey.
you're referring to, and I agree with Danny Boy here. SMCI has so many strikes against it with their bookkeeping issues that I just don't trust them. Same. I think they're investable. That's coming from a guy who runs a stolen cheese dispenser business. Yes, Danny Boy. Thank you. Well, we have to go with the classic George Bush saying, Sharif, fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice, shame on you, right? He obviously botched that one. Dara's being significantly more lenient than I am, but fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice, shame on you. I think you're just being too lenient on a thing that on a name that just continuously does the same thing over and over again.
All right, see ya.
We're moving on to Eli Lilly. Eli Lilly has delivered a major upside surprise with a Q4 EPS of 7.54 versus 6.67, which was expected, and a revenue of 19.29 billion versus 17.96 billion, which was expected. And revenue has grown 43% year over year, which is highlighting the scale and speed of adoption for Mounjaro, which is diabetes, and Zepbound, weight loss. Net income has jumped to $6.64 billion from a $4.41 billion exactly a year ago. And Eli Lilly forecasted 2026 revenue of $80 billion to $83 billion, well above the $77.6 billion street estimate, which is signaling a confidence in the sustained GLP-1 demand, and an adjusted EPS guidance of 33.5 to 35, also topped expectations of 33.23. U.S. revenue has climbed from 12 to $12.9 billion, which is driven from a 50% increase in volume. And CEO Dave Ricks has also noted that pricing will step down early this year, and volume acceleration is expected in the back half.
You can't fool me again, right? Like, there it is. I love it. George Bush, bro.
Hey, man, I lived up to the name.
You can't fool me again.
Bush, you gotta
he just looked everybody dead in the eye and said it was fantastic.
Well, we can't fool me again.
Here's my deal with this. So we know President Trump is negotiating to get cheaper GLP-1 prices. What does that mean? Margin freaking compression. And they are acknowledging that. They're saying management acknowledge lower realized prices, but what they're saying is volume growth more than compensated for that. How come we're not hearing that from Novo Nordisk, right? How come we're hearing that from Eli Lilly? What does that mean to me? That means Eli Lilly is selling more than Novo. Well, otherwise, Novo would be like, all right, yeah, sure, we're making a little bit less per pop, but we're selling more. How come that is not the case there? And here's the deal. One is American, one isn't, okay? So we know exactly how this administration feels about championing the winners, and they're likely going to champion an American. And so I think that there may be more issues for Novo in the future when it comes to that. I do like Novo, though, for the oral pill, which is a lot of people that don't want to take the injections, but you got to assume, or you not even assume, in fact, I know that Eli Lilly is having their oral pill fast-tracked through the FDA process. And I'm assuming for exactly the reason that I just articulated. They're an American company and they want to, champion an American horse. What's your take?
No, I was just reading on that. So, I mean, a lot going on there. Plans global regulation submissions for the obesity drug. This is the oral pill in which I'm referring to. But if we look at Mounjaro, Zepbound, it's a substantial growth. But one thing that really might come to a hindrance is what Donald Trump is trying to do, lower the prices. And what does that mean? Margin compression. So it's not necessarily that good for these names right now. And is the space starting to get overcrowded? What happens when you start getting those secondary market drugs like Hims and Hers releasing the same?
I'm about to get to that.
Right? Yeah. So it's just like, hey, $500 subscription, monthly subscriptions, people don't like this, but there's cheaper alternatives as well, too.
So we're both in fitness.
Yeah.
We're gym people. Have you heard about retatrutide or retatrutide?
No.
Okay, so this is huge in the bodybuilding community right now. Okay. It is, it's a triple action. So there's 3 different hormones, not just GLP-1, 3 different ones. And it's supposed to be insane for weight loss.
Oh, really?
So good is it that the Chinese are manufacturing it legally, obviously without license, and they're shipping it into North America.
We can't get that stuff legally here.
We can't get it legally, but it's not going to, if you want to order it, nobody's going to stop it at the border. That's what I'm trying to say to you.
Really?
They don't care about that stuff. But that's not the point. The point is that is Eli Lilly's, and it's in a phase 3 trial. And we already know it's really pretty good because they're using it in bodybuilding. So that one is on the horizon. We don't hear that from Novo. We hear that from Eli Lilly. Yeah. So that could be part of the premium that you're seeing here with Lilly. Does anybody, you guys know about this in the chat, man? Or Retta True Tide? What the hell is the name of this?
The Trend Bros are pretty sure using it.
It's right there, Joe. Retta True Tide. They're an investigational once-a-weekly injectable triple G hormone receptor antagonist developed by Eli Lilly, targeting GIP, GLP-1, and glucagon receptors. Currently in phase 3 trials, it shows superior weight loss results, and it's being abused to no end in the bodybuilding community. Why? That's not usually a good thing, but the point is, we know that it works because they're using it.
Listen to this in the chat. A lot of people know of it. Michael Peter Ryer saying danger, but here, yes, it's
Absolutely,
awesome. It says audio creation. Some Uzi Options has been using it for 6 months. Yeah, I can see Joe placing his order right now.
The point, Joey, is what I'm trying to make is this is a product pipeline that is good. Yeah. I'm not hearing the same thing from Novo other than having their oral pill, and we know Eli Lilly is coming out momentarily.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
That's kind of how I feel about that whole thing. I think we've done with this one. What do we got next, Sia?
Next up, we have Uber. Uber has posted a Q4 revenue of $14.37 billion, edging past expectations of $14.32 billion, with total revenue up $12 billion from a year ago. Adjusted EPS came in at 71 cents, and despite the beat, shares moved lower pre-market, which could reflect certain cautious sentiment. Mobility revenue has reached $8.2 billion, which is up 19% year over year, slightly below street expectations of $8.3 billion. And delivery revenue surged 30% year over year to $4.9 billion, beating estimates and retaining the company's fastest growing segment. Gross bookings totaled $54.1 billion, topping estimates of $53.1 billion, reinforcing a strong platform demand. And for Q1, Uber also guided to gross bookings of $52 billion to $53.5 billion, implying at least a 17% year-over-year growth.
Seen now delivery revenue growth outdo mobility, which is ride hailing, I think for a couple of years now. It's still not as big of a top line number, 4.9 compared to 8.2, but it's growing much faster, 30% year over year, 19% for ride hailing. Well, how come? Because they're expanding beyond restaurants, grocery, retail. Joey, you know, I was just in the Rabba down the street over here in the morning to pick something up before I came in, and there was a delivery driver going into the Rabba, picking something up, coming back out to deliver it at like 6:20 a.m. So the point is you can get anything, anytime. So the delivery revenue is definitely that one with the bigger runway, I think. Absolutely. The other thing that I want to mention, though, freight, $1.27 billion Q4 of 2024, $1.27 billion Q5 of 2025. What the hell, Uber? You have zero growth in that entire division? What's going on with that? They haven't even been reporting it in the articles. I had to go and do a deep dive to find out what the freight revenue was. And Katina Man mentioned it this morning. 0% growth on freight year over year. That's one headwind. The other headwind, I think AV, is this company is ripe for disruption from the Waymos, from the Ubers. I know that they're focusing on AV. They appointed a CFO that's AV, inclined, but they may have trouble. Couple of reasons. One, they're not the producers. Tesla's vertically integrated. Exactly. They've got the software, they've got the car, they've got everything. Uber's going to have to probably, contract that out, which means what? Lower margins.
Lower margins. And I think that's a question that we can really get into, because it's like, hey, in which direction does Uber really go? Because we know that the employee is probably one of their largest liabilities, but what happens when you take on a bunch of autonomous vehicles? What does that mean for insurance? That's a massive liability. You're going to have to take on debt to buy the vehicles as well, too. So you have to weigh out your two options. Is it cheaper for me to keep a driver and lose more and more share to the Tesla and to the Waymos, or am I going to fall into a liability hole potentially with buying these autonomous vehicles where you have insurance costs, you need to charge the vehicles, you need to store the vehicles as well too. You can't just park them anywhere. So that's going to be a big question, I think, in the near future for Uber.
You know what? Immediately I thought AVs would be fantastic for Uber. Why?
Absolutely.
Because drivers take a huge amount of money from Uber's
But
top
then
line. I hate to put it like
the
this.
liabilities of taking on these vehicles, the autonomous vehicles as well too. I think a question that hasn't really yet to been answered is like, okay, Uber has these massive fleets. Where do they put them at the end of the day? They have to rent something. That's more cost, right? So what is that going to do? It's going to.
I know, but I personally think that cost gets offset by not paying drivers. That's just my opinion. But I also want to mention the insurance.
Yeah.
Remember Lemonade? Remember that the 50% discount when FSD's involved. So
is that what they're doing?
Yes,
Okay,
Lemonade was offering 50% discount for robo-taxis because of FSD. I don't think it's fully implemented yet.
Okay.
But the point was to say that I think insurance is looking at this from a mathematical perspective, and they're saying there's less liability when it's...
And that's what I was going to get at right there. What is the liability factor? If the insurance company is saying, hey, it's actually cheaper if you go from an AI standpoint and robotics autonomous vehicle than having the actual drivers in themselves, then I think it almost gets to a no-brainer.
All right. Adara, please give us your take on Uber.
Let's start with a quote here from U.S. President Donald Trump and say, thank you very much, Dara, to CEO of Uber, Dara. I'm sorry, I had to do that there, guys, because as we know, Trump did say that one time to Uber CEO Dara Khosrowshahi. Let's take a look here at UBER, though. I think one thing, like we're talking about freight, what's interesting, too, is overall revenue has not grown. Like, I mean, it's grown, sure, it's 20%,